VortiX will have picked up at all on DeMista's chosen strategy recently, where we saw a silver tree coming out. We have TheViper playing as of course, Abbasid Dynasty. He's got 1 scout right now, and I don't think, he does not have a second scout in production. So whenever you have 1 scout, you pretty much want to do this kind of, let's say, 20% of the map coverage semicircle around your own TC, or maybe let's say 40%. Just kind of do this circle because there's a lot of guaranteed sheep around your town center. You can, of course, try to gamble and go kind of for a stab across the map where I'm like, I'm going to take your sheep. But the risk that you end up losing everything is quite high. 1 scout generally does do a circle. You see a little bit more of an experimental route here from VortiX. He's got about 4 sheep to his name right now. No second scout from him either. So both of them really channeling their resources into a large amount of villagers and not wasting anything on scouts.
And the scouting around your TC once, probably some advice that some people didn't get the memo for, because experts call it the striker approach. Just trying to go to the front, not find any sheep, and actually lose a deciding game in a last round of N4C qualifier in 4 minutes 20 seconds, simply because they didn't get all their sheep.
Yeah, that was a funny game. Did you cast that live?
Together with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. Grubby's like, I had so much fun with it. What happened there?
That's actually how I was thinking. 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
I still remember when we cast.
Yeah, we watched the replay together.
Yeah, you even like it's 2 minutes and I see the clock, but obviously we have an overlay for it, so we're hiding it for casters and you for the viewers, and you're telling me, Nile, the game only lasts 4 minutes. What's the bug? And I see like double aggressive over one person already moving a scout, and you're like, this game is not going to last long. What's happening?
I'm new at this casting thing. What can I say? It was an honor to cast with such an experienced caster as yourself, Neely, who knows things like if you're observing a game with a 5-minute delay, you can see the game time before it's over, and then you're ruining it to all the viewers when you say it's 4 minutes or something. Something KW happened. Yeah. The striker game, legendary. So back to this game. Amazing spawn for VortiX. He has a town center slotted space between gold and wood. That means he does not need to make a gur. Doesn't need to pay 100 wood to age up. And so far, it's a non-pasteurized. This hasn't been boiled, a non-pasteurized TC opening. Nice. For Mongol opening, straight into feudal, pretty much the fastest feudal that you could want to do. It's kind of leading credibility into the possibility that he's going for a fast castle, and I'd like to see it. I don't know why we haven't seen it more from Mongols, Neely. We have like 20 games, everyone's tower rushing. 2/3 are failing.
Yeah, it's crazy how unsuccessful that is. And I think if we see the fast castle, VortiX typically would send fewer villagers on his deer stones. We just saw, I think, 4 villagers on it, so he wants to go for some aggression, goes for 3. If you are going fast castle, deer stone's not heavily improving your economy early on with the small numbers, and you kind of try to stay more efficient. 1 villager on it is totally fine.
Yep. And the Viper is already going into stone. He's actually stopped his gold gathering right now. He's got wheelbarrow coming up. His age-up... Is this age-up finished yet for the Viper?
Yeah, I think so, because wheelbarrow's on the way, fresh foodstuff's on the way as well, and he will have a pretty strong economy.
Yeah, great economy coming up. He's getting those 2 econ upgrades and now going into wood and stone, and this is without any of the delays we have seen in some of the games. Good scouting for him makes him realize that the Mongol player is not being aggressive. All those outpost openings, those barracks openings, stable, none of it. What are you seeing? I see your eyes widen.
Crazy amount of sheep in the second one, right? He already dropped off some sheep.
Yeah, can we get a head count for the Viper? 11 sheep.
Okay, he only dropped off 4. Apparently, he was heavily on berries, so it didn't really feel like I need to drop off any at home. So not as crazy as I thought. Like 5 minutes. Like if a scout normally has 7 sheep behind him at the 5-minute mark, he normally goes more like 15, 20.
I think that's probably because he wanted to know if the Mongol player VortiX was going to be aggressive, and he now knows that's not the case. Has made a stable for himself Viper is making a stable, not saving up the full 400 immediately for the second town center. Has been very annoyingly harassed on his stone by the Khan, which is going to slow down his stone accumulation a bit. Actually, not insignificant.
Yeah, I think already 3-4 villagers had to be pulled, so certainly not really the walking that you want to do. Plus, maybe they're even weaker for the long run. And as you can see, Viper even pulls 2 more villagers. Really annoying. Khan doesn't want to overcommit, but now the first horseman out should be able to deal with that.
And if this scout was at home, this couldn't have happened. You would have a better stone gathering time. However, it's kind of okay because that scout got information, which made him know I'm completely safe against Mangudai, archers, spears, and horsemen. He knows it's fast castle. Both of you and I feel good about this in terms of VortiX's chances, or let's say it's the right chosen strategy as we understand the meta flow of this tournament so far.
Yeah, I think the next step is that like Abbasid is going to tower rush Mongols in the future, and they're trying to be aggressive, right? Because as we mentioned, VortiX, 0 army, and he will stay like that till he reaches castle age. Then the big question, is he going for men-at-arms or lancers?
Second TC has started. It's on the gold and kind of in between gold and stone, covering multitude of different resource nodes. The timing of this second TC was about 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Which is about 10 to 30 seconds slower than it possibly could be, even with the wheelbarrow and fresh foodstuffs. But that's because the Viper got harassed on his stone and because he squeezed out a stables and a horseman. What's that horseman getting him? Well, he's kind of just scouting additional resource nodes. Age of Empires 2 players. Oh, he loses his scout to the Khan. He can't be too happy with that. He could, of course, remake a scout from the stables. And now we see VortiX's POV. He is already going step readout at 7:23 here, Neely.
So big question now. Obviously, you want to have your villagers drop off the gold at the step readout because you get +5 gold for every single trip. But the villagers could also be inclined to drop off at the town center. Do you move your town center closer to the woodline, or do you lose too much time?
I think you move it. The unpacking, or let's say the packing, the moving, and the unpacking is going to probably cost you about 12 seconds. So you're getting, let's say, a little over half a villager less. You don't have to pay its food, of course, so you're saving food on it. Half a villager gathers 20 resources per minute. But the step readout gives you 50% extra drop off. So every 40 gold villager per minute becomes a 60 gold villager per minute. So you're easily earning it back by making sure that that is happening. And I'm curious to see if VortiX is going to do that. I think he absolutely should move his TC. Right now, he went for a different route. He made sure that they are aligned on the bottom side of it. But, you know, yeah, it seems actually that 90% of them are dropping off in the right orientation.
Yeah.
And what's funny about this game is that villagers kind of rotate around. They don't really stay put where they are. They have a tendency to rotate around gold nodes in a clockwise formation. So they are actually more likely to go to the readout when they are like this than if the readout had been on the north side.
Yeah. I know that, and I shared that information with Viper. Most people don't know. And if you look at the Viper and how he positions his gold and stone mine here, it's always on the clockwise side, right? So you kind of want to build it moving into the clockwork direction, and villagers are more efficient that way.
So if it's top left, should it be on the left or the right side spot?
Top left, like it's how he
this,
did it.
This
the
mining camp on
is
the gold?
perfect. That's perfect. Correct.
Yes.
Because they move towards the left of themselves.
Yeah.
And therefore they drop off better. You know who found that out? Kush, a great mind of Age of Empires, also the person responsible for all the data behind our overlay.
Oh, interesting. I found it out by myself once, where I thought, okay, it must be better on this side, but I didn't have the data, just the feeling. Kush actually has that hard data.
6 till 7%.
6 to 7% difference. Interesting. Well, back to the game at hand. VortiX has gone for a Lancer opening. He's got Knights into Spearman. These are tier 3, H3 Knights into Dark Age Spearman.
Gone.
Oh, the gun goes down to double TC. Crossfire. Oh, correction. These are hardened Spearman. You can see that they're in production. but they are already hardened. And Abbasid Dynasty is also aging up. Really nice timing. He's about to reach, which means he clicked up at about 9 minutes or so. Super clean economic opening by the Viper.
Obviously makes it easier if you delay the town center. You can collect some more food. Your town center is delayed a bit more. Villager advantage not super crazy by 8, so I would assume villager, like overall income, relatively similar, but Viper obviously increasing while VortiX stuck on 1TC.
That's true. So Viper will get more and more from that, even as VortiX is reaping the rewards of his readout. Age up ready for Viper. Nice time of 10:30. What's he gonna get with that? So far he's still upgrading Phalanx, the double range for the Spearman. He's making a lot of Spearman from, I don't know if that's from 1 barracks or multiple. It looks like 2 barracks right now. The Knights, the Lances here from the Mongol player VortiX are getting some nice kills. But unlike French Knights, they don't actually end up healing up. And we'll be curious to see if VortiX with that prayer tent, is he only going to be collecting some relics and taking some sites, or will there be any component of healing as well?
Ooh, actually double TC. We didn't realize. But I was like questioning, like, where are his resources going, right? Because he only played 1 stable. So not a lot of aggression. Actually, VortiX is playing the long game, which is interesting against Abbasid.
It's very interesting, and it's something that none of the Mongol players have done here so far, save for maybe 2 players. We've had 2 Mongol mirrors among something like 20 Mongol games, and in those you could see a second town center, like Leenock did against Viper on Hill and Dale yesterday. And then we have seen a second Mongol town center, I believe by DeMusliM against
the French second town center on King of the Hill yesterday?
Yeah, maybe we've seen
against
1 or
LucifoN,
2
right?
second Mongol TCs in non-Mongol mirror matches. And VortiX is kind of changing the way that Mongols are being played. His Khan comes back, he's got relic collection, couple of Lancers here, and a second town center. And the question is again, does Viper know?
I would be surprised if he knows, but he also sees, okay, that's not a lot of Lancers, something might be happening. What really surprises me, look at that, VortiX actually upgrading +1 attack for his range units. While he's going for Lancers, but now the switch is coming in, goes for crossbows, expecting Men-at-Arms as a defense.
Okay, so far Viper is only making Spearman, and if I saw crossbows and Knights, I would make nothing but Spearman. Lots and lots and lots of Spearman.
Oh, passing in there, and
he's
could
gonna
be
get
5
him!
conversions. Oh, gets 4! Big conversion here for the Viper.
4 Mongol Lancers now in control of the Viper. I think that's the biggest conversion we've seen so far in N4C. A moment of rare inattention for the VortiX there as the Viper gets 4 out of 5 Lancers, some of them hurt, and is now turning them on their former masters.
And that's so good for him, not necessarily because he will do massive amount of damage, but it's likely that he's trying to raid, and he will therefore confirm the second town center.
Wow. Do you think there's
If
any?
they survive.
Do you think there's any element of being less careful with money given to you than the one you had to work hard for to earn?
I was a poker professional for many years, so yeah, I can
You
confirm
confirm
that. Also, like, maybe do you think VortiX, like 300 IQ play, knew that they would be converted and already prepared crossbow against the converted Lancers?
Oh, wow. He's like, yeah, I typically tend to run my Lancers past relic holding monks, so I need crossbows for this. Yeah. And there. This was the one Lancer that wasn't converted. And he did the same thing. These are some of the worst Lancers I've ever seen. Very conflicted in their mindset about which side they're on. One Lancer yet remains as VortiX is spamming sheep and crossbows. Viper himself, I feel like when I think of Viper, Neely, I feel like crossbow is his favorite unit. He's always making them.
He's like really controlled with them. They play a bit differently than Age of Empires 2, obviously. They are not really that good in killing Spearmen, for example. The micro possibilities are really good in Age of Empires 2, but it simply feels like Men-at-Arms are played so often. Plus, with his eco approach, often people are trying to break him, and therefore crossbow's a great unit to defend.
That is true. That is true. And he's now making a combination of crossbows, men-at-arms, and spearman. The perfect army for Abbasid Dynasty, I do feel. Neither of the player here has gone for any siege units yet. Both have access to siege engineering, and of course, we did see that mangonel before. It's not being used. VortiX did make one. Kind of just resting there for defense, as VortiX has 3 relics, Viper has 2. the first sacred site is being captured by VortiX. Both on 2TC for a while, but Viper has now upped the ante and gone for a third.
Third town center, this time with the mill next to the berries. Big mistake there yesterday.
Yep.
And yeah, really hurt so many people. Viper now first sacred site under control. Second one 50%. And yeah, neutralizes the one in the center. Gold income due to neutral stuff. Even.
And Viper caps 2 of the sites and denies the third, so he's got good sacred site control. Made a couple of springles and mangonels as well. The Khan drops low from VortiX and falls back. And Viper now switches into archers and veteran archers.
What's happening with the Khan here? Oops. Esports scratch incoming. Oh, esports sigh.
Yeah, did you see? I don't know what it's called when a person pushes their lips onto each other and kind of goes inwards. Like it's not pursing, but if anyone knows, it's really important because there is a read there for when that happens. Like, you know, that wasn't great for me. Viper's pushing out. His supply is absolutely blossoming. 136 right now against 106 from VortiX.
And so many upgrades are flying in as well. Viper's Q and his upgrades look like he's playing Delhi. Look at that, got eco upgrades,
That's
got
true.
so much out of the blacksmith now as well, and is ready to push. 53 military against 37, and there's a lot of stuff exposed here at the front that VortiX can't properly protect.
That Uvu location, not a single outpost from VortiX there to defend it. The pressure is ramping on from Viper. He's got an excellent economy behind this. In fact, he's getting greased axles right now. Movement speed for the siege. He's got horticulture level 2 coming out. Broad axes, it's all there. Blacksmith upgrades are swinging in as well, and VortiX scrambles to the defense of his Ovu, which is dropping low, 20%. Springles are starting to fire at each other. It's one Springle going down a piece.
Uh-oh, Viper needs some more Springles here. Ovu obviously not the most important thing, simply because we are after 15 minutes, so it ran dry there, and now Viper on the retreat goes for a rather aggressive keep that isn't controlling lots of resources. It's like more of a strategic point for himself.
Kind of a fallback point. It's actually really interesting when you know that you've got the stone for a keep. You have to make a judgment call. You see, okay, I've got the site towards the top, towards the bottom. We're not really actively harassing each other or denying each other a lot of resources. So he's just looking for this fallback point from which he can stage his attack, rally his units towards. And it makes it hard for VortiX to go all the way around the flanks because there's a lot of travel time in avoiding that keep.
Now an out. What is this ambitious outpost here by VortiX?
Vision, right? It's actually an Abbasid outpost from the Viper.
From Viper.
He wants Vision so that he can win that Springled attrition war.
Yeah, obviously line of sight better in that regard with those outposts. I love if Blacksmith are moving. Look at that. It's like the Flying Dutchman.
Just pack it up and fly everything away, but it does remove their armor. Springleds normally do 1 damage on buildings. Now they're just absolutely smacking them. They're being saved here as VortiX accumulates a large men-at-arms army behind here. His resources are being well spent.
Oh,
that's a lot of idle villagers. Not enough pastures.
But it's not too few pastures, right? Look at that. Looks like
you need
8 pastures, 24 villagers there. But does he have more? Or are they blocking each other?
He's got so many villagers on food, actually.
Okay.
Way more than can be sustained by the sheep production.
MarineLorD still not shooting by the Viper, mainly focusing on having the Springles work properly. Crossbows now could do some damage. MarineLorD shots are flying in. VortiX needs to micro back.
The Khan cast an arrow of defense, of armor aura, that has kind of affected the crossbows. Pretty good fight here for VortiX. He killed a lot of the infantry. He's kind of lost the siege war. The town center's firing away here. Can't really take down Springles. It doesn't do enough damage. It doesn't pierce the armor.
It might feel like, wow, Viper went in there quite a bit against the town center, right? But town center was empty this whole time. No damage output there, as you can see. And that's why Viper felt like, okay, I couldn't commit here.
The villagers still, they won't show up as idle.
Being pulled.
What's going on? What's going on? Big attack here by the villagers.
They're trying to jump on the MarineLords. MarineLords are going away, try to get some shots in, try to take some time, but they're turning very slowly. Crossbow not eating the big shots, but now they're flying in.
Crossbows from VortiX scrambling to the defense. He's trying to target fire down the villagers. A little bit of overfire. He's trying to make sure a second keep doesn't come up here in his base, even as villagers are taking down mangonels and springles. But VortiX's villager count is dropping dangerously low to sustain production that would be required at this point.
Wow, 20 villagers dying there. And yeah, it is a nice hole, but so much behind the scenes going right for the Viper. And he will take game number 1.
Game number 1, GG. Viper wins. VortiX falls 1 point behind. His placement would be affected. He'd be lower, and he'd be facing a tougher cast of players if he is lower in this group. Just now, he adds another loss to the Mongol losses here. There's something like 7-14. Fairly low, one of the lowest.
Yeah, the lowest.
The very lowest, rank 8.
Crazy,
So,
right?
Are you going to amend your tier list?
Let's not go into that one again. Drongo already took notes today after the updated stats from yesterday. He will have one on YouTube within the next 24 hours, I'm sure. And Viper finally starting off with 1-0. And Mongols, we still have to question, like, what went wrong? What could they have gone for? They went for the late game there with the extra town center. They went for the prayer tent, but didn't get full control. Still only 2 relics, right? Although
3 relics for VortiX,
3, yeah, okay.
0 sites, 2 sites for Viper, and 2 relics. 3 or maybe 4 town centers for the Viper. I counted 3 at least. We didn't look at it again.
No.
So he had 1 more town center. Every villager is being produced more cheaply. He got the Culture Wing research reduction upgrade, where everything is cheaper, something like 30%, which allowed him to get horticulture, broad axes, mining picks,
Blacksmith upgrades,
1 of each, and then extra. He was in a great economic position. Lancers, how many villagers did they kill?
I didn't see a single kill, I believe.
Maybe 1, right? So
Certainly not enough.
VortiX kind of stepped away from his primary identity for the most part here, looking to add depth to his capabilities, where you can say, yeah, I can be aggressive, I can be economic. He didn't get that many economy upgrades. Didn't really manage his pasture allocation with villagers quite correctly. Did some pressure that didn't do as much, and then just got swarmed by Abbasid tidal wave.
And then the mass springles, obviously brilliant to take great fights in Castle Age there, getting the numbers out. And as we can see, Viper will now face the home map of VortiX, Hill and Dale. If I think about VortiX, I think about Hill and Dale. I think about his crazy good openings with Holy Roman Empire. For me, basically the person that showed us why Holy Roman Empire is so good on this map.
Yeah, agree. And if VortiX wants to take it back, Holy Roman Empire is his pick here. The strongest against Holy... What?
Is it? Is it, Grubby?
Okay.
And Drongo will be, I told you it's Chinese Mirror. Maybe different map, maybe different matchup, maybe different day, but I told you it's Chinese Mirror.
So this is really, really interesting. So the top civs on Hill and Dale, generally, on first level of psychology, Holy Roman Empire, for their ability to defend just 3 locations, wall a bit, relics are relatively accessible, resources are plentiful, and you've got a good deer location, which more often than not is covered under the Aachen Chapel. Then there's Abbasid Dynasty, who is really good at booming, but Abbasid has become so good that it doesn't need the wall protections anymore of Hill and Dale, and more than that, Abbasid wants to boom into a Castle Age push, in which case they like an open map. Then you've got Chinese. Chinese used to be loved to be played here, and the reason the Chinese saw less player is because of Holy Roman Empire's favorable matchup into Chinese. If you make an estimate that your opponent is going to save Holy Roman Empire for somewhere else, because you're afraid to be countered by English or Mongols as a Holy Roman Empire player, then you could go into Chinese and enjoy the benefits of this map. The biggest problem for Chinese on this map, if you turtle and boom, and you go double TC Song, triple TC Song, eventually you run out of gold on your main island, and it can feel hard to push out into the map. That will be one of the big challenges for either one of them, if they do choose to go for that economic boom first.
Indeed, 12k gold is the only that you have access to, one 4k mine, one 8k mine.
Correct.
And then if you want to go into like 3+ bombers, if you want to go into all those upgrades, your Imperial officials have to do quite some collecting.
That's true. They did get buffed in the patch 1 week ago since now. So you're going to have more gold on your little micro island. So we'll see how it plays out. A Chinese mirror. Viper is said to not enjoy mirror matchups as much. So he once again faces... maybe he was trying to avoid that with this pick. He once again faces a mirror matchup.
He said he feels a bit clueless in mirror matchups, which, well, is a big question mark, right? And I'm not sure if he doesn't enjoy them, but certainly he said he's not really successful. It's like with different matchup, it's more like trying to figure out what the army composition is going to be. People are talking about it a bit more, but Chinese mirror, I didn't hear a single discussion over the last days how to play Chinese mirror.
Nobody thought this was going to be played. But here's the big surprise. Chinese did get a small little buff, of course. Actually, a couple of buffs in the recent patch. Until that patch, most people were talking about them as maybe a bottom 2 civilization. Guess who's the highest win rate at N4C with a 5-2 score? Chinese!
Yeah. Interesting choice by the Viper, going for the faraway gold mine. I think you want to go for this closer one, no? The Imperial official. What is this? Collects 20 gold.
Interesting.
And now goes on to stone. So it's extra TC, and he is only counting for 2 drop-offs of the IO.
Well, that's really interesting. Yeah, so he drops off 20 gold there, goes for the stone. So he's looking for a quick second town center.
But he dropped off 39 in his first trip instead of 40.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Viper math.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Viper math.
He's going for another 1 gold.
Viper math or Viper mess?
Oh, both. Oh. Wow, GG.
GG. go GG next. Okay, now we have the 40 drop off there.
There we go.
And now it's 161. He only carried 1. Huh? Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? Age of Empires works in fractions. And it probably showed higher than it actually is. Like it rounded up.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so
that's
I've
ugly.
had the opposite happen, where I need 20, I extract 20, I look at the gold mine, it is exactly, let's say, 3,900. And then I drop it all off, and I'm missing 1.
Yeah.
And there's like half a gold somewhere in my pocket, and half a ingot still like stuck on the rock. You need to go there and...
And Age of Empires only says, like, what would be most annoying for the player? And then it decides to give you that amount. So Viper first 199, now 201.
What's he gonna do with the 1 gold? Such a problem.
Invested?
Imperial Palace opening here, Imperial Academy from the Viper. So that's gonna generate extra passive gold. We see the Imperial Academy coming out from VortiX as well. And he's gonna go for a mining camp right snuck in between.
Ooh, low Elo Legends mining camp here.
What a nice position.
Yeah, truly good. And also you like drop off twice. Imperial Palace now as an option as a drop off point for IOs as well. So that's like super short distance.
What a great positioning here for VortiX. Not too bad for the Viper either.
I think the question.
Yeah?
Couldn't the Imperial Palace be a bit higher next to the gold, next to the stone, next to the berries?
Yeah, I think it should have been slotted 1 to the left, top left, and 2 extra to the top right. And it would still cover everything. I agree with you. It could have been slightly better positioned to have a better tax drop-off point.
VortiX relatively late on stone. As we can see, Viper, he will drop his next town center in like 15 seconds. Oh, what is this?
It's got to be wooden walls. There are no stone walls allowed in N4C as a kind of test case. Oh, okay.
At least as in Feudal Age.
Okay, this is going to be wooden tower rush with stone emplacements.
Okay.
So he's going to go for the hand cannon tower rush. Chinese civilians build military buildings like outposts 50% faster than others. He's bringing 4. That's going to be really fast. These towers do 25 damage, so they can pierce much easier past horseman armor, for instance.
And he splits them off. Look at that. Goes for some deer, goes for the pressure here. Obviously, that tower won't achieve too much on the first level. What is Viper up to?
How?
Did he scout that?
Did he see it?
He had to.
Does he know about the 4 and therefore there's 2 missing?
Oh, maybe his scout was around there. I'm a bit surprised as well. Scout now looping around. Has to be happy with that one. Maybe a small rewall could help him.
Oh, 1 villager died to the town center.
Got the shot in there, and now another TC by the Viper, very close to his first one. Obviously, you want to not actually collect resources at your town center, because all resources dropped off at a normal drop-off point generate gold to be taxed.
Yeah, exactly. Those TCs against the woods that so many civs like to do, you don't want to do that as Chinese. Just like you said, there's going to be a big attack here with villagers and a scout. So far, it's still attacking the scout. Let's see where the next shot goes towards. To a villager, he pulls it away.
And now the town center is so much better because shorter distance and arrows missing. Viper might actually get the kill here without a single loss. Could be really nice for him.
Let's see if we can get those villagers selected. The second scout comes out. Don't know if any villagers have fallen just yet. He cancels the arrow emplacement because it is not worth finishing.
And now just finish off the villagers. This is really good for the Viper. Obviously TC faster. As you can see, VortiX still didn't add the second town center. Viper should get a nice lead.
And VortiX has the stone and wood soon for a second TC, but he's already 3 villagers down. And now the Barbican coming in the front will scout and stop any future villagers.
Resources. He will build a Barbican there as well. Has enough villagers. That was Viper's Barbican, but that's what is VortiX Barbican, but won't go up.
What? He's...
Oh, that's desperate.
Oh, that's a very late Barbican attack here coming out by VortiX. He's got the resources to start a second TC. You know, I really like it in Chinese Mirror to make a couple of towers, maybe like a Barbican in a Chinese Mirror. When it distracts the opponent, you can actually go 3 TC behind it, and they may make any kind of defense to stop the towers. Now, as VortiX sees this, his win chance plummets, his morale must plummet. He sees this. He immediately pulls back.
And now a weird aggressive Barbican, not really controlling too much. Could we take a look at Viper's second woodline at the left-hand side? There's an IO still dancing there. What is he up to? Oh, another tower that Viper still sees though.
Yeah, he sees it on time.
Look
if
at
he
that
pulls
IO.
his villagers.
He's just dancing for nothing.
This IO is supervising nothing at all. Not good.
Could maybe collect some in the long run. I'm still surprised that the Barbican was built there. I think the only way that this one makes sense might be fast castle edge and go for 1-2 traps. But what are you really achieving? Killing the Barbican of the opponent? Not really generating too much of an advantage.
The only way that I like to see this pan out for VortiX, considering his considerable villager deficit, is 3 to 4 TCs. Maybe 3 TC Song or... he's already Song.
Both will be Song.
Yeah, 3 TC. I think you got to go 3 TC. You wall up, you quickly go to 100, 110 villagers, and then you stop. There is a way to go too far, and then you run out of food, and then you run out of army supply. Get to a high villager count quickly.
Not cancelled.
And then transition. Yeah, I didn't cancel, lost the tower. Villagers are running away. More villagers are coming out. Oh, this is desperate. This is not strong. Viper stopping this very easily.
7 villager lead, still 2 town centers against 1. Both players Song Dynasty, so it's not 1 town center advantage, it's 1.35 town centers advantage. Now another tower there. This is just VortiX trying to make something happen, but he sees that it's not looking pretty.
Yeah, his villagers are in various positions to try and continue the towering, but Viper's just on top of it. He sees it all.
He doesn't know either. Like, here, nah, here, nah. And like,
Meanwhile, at home, he does not have a second TC. He's got a lot of stone. He's still gathering stone, 600, but he doesn't have the wood to do anything with it. And he has a singular town center still.
Villager goes down there as well, and Viper has to be super chill. Also, he has 3 Imperial officials still collecting gold quite nicely for him. And honestly, stays on stone, which is quite surprising to me. Maybe even wants to go for a 3rd town center. Finds a kill there against the scout. Sloppy by VortiX.
And of course, one supervisor for Viper is still on his lumber camp. Even when faced with such good odds, one must still see that he is not using all of his officials correctly. He's actually had a 5th Imperial official in production for a little bit. Finally, he sees one of them, and he attributes them towards that gold mining camp to go for the supervision. VortiX finally went with the 2nd TC, but he's gonna have to go for a 3rd to catch up.
15 villagers behind Grubby. Even if he goes for a 3rd one, it will take so long. Viper will reach 100 villagers so much faster, and that's what you said might be around the time where we want to go into the heavy military push. Viper, look at his resources, flirting with Castle Age.
Yep, going to Castle and ending with men-at-arms would be the best way to play this out. You can go for knights, but they've got that hard counter in spears, Whereas men-at-arms can only be countered by crossbows or knights, neither of them accessible for the slower castle age of VortiX. So the standard way to play that would be to go for men-at-arms in castle age. Tier 3 has been started, H3. Now there's a large lack of lumber for the Viper, so he is starting to gather lumber there, and he needs to do a supervision on the lumber camp as well, which he is not doing yet.
And did you see that he didn't finish the tower at his berries? I think if he's missing, look at that. He had it at 90%, knew he was short on wood, waited if the attack continued, and then cancelled it, gets 100% back.
Great tactic to do against anyone except Mongols, who, if they've attacked it, get a raid bonus the moment you cancel it. But against everyone else, that's a really smart thing to do. It's an option of a tower.
Nice move for sure. Imperial officials still doing their work. One supervising the gold, next one collecting some taxes, and Viper now still really active with the scouts. Very atypical. How many villagers kills we see on Hill and Dale with scouts? How many villages did he lose? Like 6 now? 5?
Yeah, maybe more.
Sick.
And then everything he lost by dealing damage to self, by delaying his TC for so long. So this is correct, I think, for VortiX. He has gone for a 3 TC behind this, trying to catch up on villagers. This makes villagers with the power of something like 4.6 town centers. You've got 3, you've got the multiplier, and I don't think the game works with decimals for production time of villagers. And it's actually 13 seconds, right? Which is...
I would assume it works with decimals.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I didn't check it. But
so let's say it's just 4.5 town centers worth of villager production that VortiX has here. The best way to play that is to get a lot of wood and start on farms early, because if you look at the minimap, there are berry patches outside the northern wall, the center wall, and there's a berry patch above the bottom wall, but the deer is outside of it. So he really doesn't have a lot of food sources that are safe against what's soon possibly to be a men-at-arms rush. So he needs a lot of wood now. Start with farms early, get like 20 farms out or so that he can support whatever comes after. He's gonna have villager production a lot, but it will take a long time before he can get back into the game and actually be a force on the map.
And the thing why I question the Barbican placement so much is his 4.5 town center boom will soon be a 3 town center boom.
No, you don't lose Song Dynasty.
Oh, you
when
don't?
the Barbican dies.
Ah.
Yeah. You stay in Song.
Then I will allow it.
Okay, we'll allow it. Barbican, kind of a throwaway building here. There's also like a fun tactical part about where you build a Barbican, you let it die on a map like Mountain Pass, because no one is ever allowed to build on top of landmarks. Its ruins block the formation of stone walls, keeps, what have you. So if you do like a proper analysis of the map and where your opponent might want to wall things off, you can have like a permanent blockage.
So it ruins the chance of walling there.
Yep. I don't know if the positioning of this kept that in mind.
The chance of
Nice. That's really good. Thanks for explaining, because I'm not so fast on the uptake.
You're very welcome.
So we do see that rice field spam by VortiX. I think he's doing the right thing there. We look at that base of VortiX there. We see loads of fields coming out. Count about, what, 12 or so?
Still, like, farms around the town center.
Yeah.
Not 100% efficient, especially if you have 4 IOs. If you have the upgrade, which VortiX does, to collect 80 gold, I think I really would have liked to see all those farms around mills.
Yeah, you know, it's tough because only about 1 to 1.5 bordered farms around mills can be said to be in proximity of the mill. After that, they may start to go to other buildings. And because farms are so spread out across different drop-offs, the problem is if you supervise, even around the most ideal farms, you're covering maybe 10 farms. And in that moment in the game, you may have like 30. So I really usually just build my farms around town center as well.
I can see that for the faster gathering rate. But for tax collection, you kind of want to have the drop-off at the mill.
As far
Especially
as I
now
know,
with 80. 80 is crazy.
I don't think people are getting the upgrade to get 80.
He got it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Imperial examinations?
Yeah, it's not that crazy, right? You have 4 IOs.
Well, can we click some buildings to see how much gold is in every building for both players? Just kind of check for a bunch of buildings, like drop off. Okay, 50 in the mill, 66, just took 40. No Imperial exa. Oh yeah, he did. He picked up 40
from somewhere else. 432. Right?
Yeah.
And some of those mills, some of those farms won't drop it off.
Yeah, okay. I could see building a few more mills for that gold generation. Interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Awesome
we're
pressure.
relearning that part of the game, right,
Yeah,
Nick?
it just got better, and therefore you have to make the adjustment. It is tricky though, right? You played hundreds of games without the change, and
Correct.
now basically you need to get out of your normal rhythm.
In days.
Yeah, and this is really tricky, obviously, and also like Chinese, not really the civilization that you trained the most going into this.
Correct. Yeah, people didn't think they were going to be that good, but they have the best win rate so far. Small sample size, admittedly. The Viper breaks through with an army of knights. VortiX is finally catching up in villager count, 95 against 102, but he's had less resource generation until now. Very, very, very nice to target those Imperial officials. Anytime you're playing against Chinese, try to find all 4. Remind yourself of where they are likely to be. 1 near the blacksmith, 1 near a mining camp, 1 near a lumber camp, and target them down. Knights are everywhere. Viper is streaming into VortiX's base and disrupting economy.
Also finding the first Springald there, easy kill for him, and he is 50 population ahead. VortiX with a failed tower rush, not really having a chance. Went for the greedy approach, we liked that one, but unsuccessful.
Yeah, too little, too late. He started that from a something like 8 to 9 villager deficit. Viper playing a lot stronger today, comfortably rebuffing any attempt to get outpost up by VortiX after having that indomitable game on Dry Arabia with the Abbasid dynasty.
It had to be really fortunate though, right? How often do you take your scout and actually scout between your base and the opponent's base in the center there? Most of the time, like I would be trying to find out, are you going 2TC, 3TC, or you're going to stone that late? That's interesting. Did he maybe realize, okay, no stone, and therefore knew, okay, something else was coming, then the boom?
And no military buildings. Imagine if he actually looked, because we do this in StarCraft, right? You do villager counting, you do worker counting. In StarCraft, we had to learn to recognize the difference optically between 14 probes on minerals or 13. You
Really?
See, yeah, you see it and you're like, I think there's 1 worker missing.
But aren't they stacking?
Yeah, it's really hard,
Okay.
but the top players can do it. And by seeing the lack of probes, you can intuit that there's a hidden villager, a hidden worker somewhere making proxy buildings, be it military proxy or actually like cannons or towers like in this game. And what you can even do is take a villager outside of your base and just put it in your own corner to pretend it's missing, to fan the paranoia, and then bring it back when they stop looking so you don't lose as much income.
Yeah, that's when what I actually do. Some people think I have idols, but I actually play mind games.
It's like, those villagers are not working. He must be bad.
That's not a mind game. No,
Suddenly
that's just true.
it's good.
Nearly fields, man. Altai, the next home map of VortiX here after losing Hill and Dale in a Chinese mirror. English, the civilization that we have seen a lot on Altai, still an option for both players.
I'm glad you said bad. I couldn't say it.
Actually, you said it, Pat.
No, you said it first.
You said it first.
You said it first.
You said it first.
You said it first. I left it open and then you said it. Then I felt comfortable to say it too. But I do believe you said it first. But it doesn't matter. But you did. So Altai. Oh, English mirror coming up. So they're both going for the most predictable civilization here, and it's going to be another mirror matchup.
Viper struggled a lot, right? Yesterday he played 4 games, lost 3 mirrors. Right? Wasn't that the LucifoN set?
Yeah,
No,
3 mirrors.
didn't he play against Leenock yesterday? Lost 3? I think the day before he played against LucifoN,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's
That's
just
true.
like so many sets now, and well, assuming that Viper lost is actually most of the time still fair. But Viper leading 2-0 here, which is lovely. He won't take it too personal.
Okay, good. I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want his feelings hurt.
Neither would I.
So English mirror. He just won a Chinese mirror though. The first of the tournament. Chinese mirror.
I would think so. Yeah. We had Chinese against English a bit on Altai, and we also had it picked on Arabia once. Viper, I think the opening match against LucifoN was also Altai in English mirror.
Yes,
And we
correct.
actually talked a bit through it before. So he has a lot of thoughts about it and should have a really good plan. Lost that game though.
Yeah.
Against the extra town center, remember, of LucifoN.
There we go. LucifoN went for that quick second TC. You know, when I started learning Age of Empires 4, the first week or two, I hadn't played the beta, only the technical stress test. I already saw that LucifoN was a top player with English. It was his favorite. Early second TC was his go-to. He did it against, yeah, LucifoN did it against Viper and it worked. No reason for VortiX not to try it either. In the mirror, for a long time it was believed that making longbows and then scoping each other out was the right play. Now, there is a reigning theory among the pros of N4C, some of the semi-pros, casters and organizers, that a second town center in English mirror is unpunishable.
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 Sounds like not really a strategy that should be in a game.
Well, it's like saying making a 7th villager after you start with 6
But
is
that's how the
unpunishable.
game is designed, to make more villagers, right?
Well, yes, and perhaps the hidden truth is that in English Mirror, you are meant to have 2 TC going up against each other, and then the game starts.
Okay, okay.
Right? Because, there's an asymmetry to civilizations. There's longbows, there's the network of citadels defense upgrade for English. It makes sense that someone with large range longbows and attack speed upgrades would be fairly good at defending. Now, why can't English do that into Abbasid Dynasty? Abbasid does it better. Why can't you do it against Holy Roman? They'll take the relics. Why can't you do it against Chinese? They do it faster. Right?
Okay.
Why not against French? Their knight attacks are too strong. They ignore the arrows. But why can you do it against English? Well, they've got no economy advantage over you or tech advantage that's really significant. King's Palace comes out earliest at 8 minutes. So you'll have a 3-minute lead in bonus villager production. They won't have enough money with a King Castle rush to also apply pressure to you afterwards. So that is the reigning theory here. Now that the stage has been set for that, I encourage all the viewers to check out what is actually going to happen together with us. Will VortiX go for that, and will Viper go for it?
And Viper opened Wheelbarrow against LucifoN 2 days ago. This time also goes for Wheelbarrow again. Will delay his Feudal Age timing a bit, while we see on the other side VortiX already up on the way to Feudal Age.
I saw yesterday an English build with Council Hall, and when it was 40% Wheelbarrow to follow up. This is different. Viper's going for a Dark Age Wheelbarrow into Council Hall. I tested this build quite a bit after one of my viewers said that he had a cool build with it. I checked it out. You can even go Wheelbarrow and farms in Dark Ages,
Wow.
which is really leading you to have a slower H2, which also gives your opponent the confidence that you have no chance whatsoever to pressure. I don't like it too much, finally. And we do see that very early farm and Wheelbarrow tactic. Maybe he has the same viewer that went to his stream.
Also, this is a bit of an approach that Mr. showed in the qualifier, right? He went for Dark Age Wheelbarrow like 4 farms before clicking up. It was absolutely crazy.
I casted that game.
It was into double stable.
Yeah.
With the wheel build-up. We cast that one together.
I know.
I had a great co-cast. I don't really remember.
Handsome guy too. What was it again? So this
Double
is
farm.
kind of that. Double farm, Dark Ages. Has he clicked up yet? No, right? Now he's
sends the
clicking up.
villager.
So this is... I like to call this a mini expansion by Viper. It's not
Okay.
a second TC, but there's a kind of economic stability and longevity to this that feels like a mini TC. But I don't think it's as good as a second TC.
Still the question for me. Do you ever want to go for the berries there? Why aren't you building the mill 1 tile further to the town center? Because then the villager at the farm at the top could drop off a bit easier.
I agree with you.
But also, like, maybe you have a hiccup,
Yeah.
then you want to go into berries, just makes it easier.
Yeah, if you're suddenly strapped for wood, right?
Yeah. I think in a perfect world, you place the mill differently with the build orders and with like how clean we are playing. I think giving yourself some rope is fine as well.
Correct. Now, someone in chat asked why early farm. I'll try to explain very simply. Farms gather more food for English in particular when around a mill than berries. And there are amounts of food on the map, sheep, berries, deer, that are limited in supply. Farms are unlimited. What that does is it extends the lifespan of your limited food supply. As you spread yourself between farms, sheep, and berries, you are extending the life of your berries and sheep because you're already getting food from another source as well. So it's kind of a long approach.
And also cheaper. That's why you could afford some more.
Farms are cheap for English, yes.
Pretty sweet. But you also see Viper, greedy approach, long momentum around, and VortiX not playing that double TC setup. Viper he is on the back foot for quite some time.
So VortiX is basically holding down the button. He's gotten wheelbarrow upgrade, and he's getting broad axis upgrade as well. Interesting. So that's his version of a mini economic expansion. Not the farm route, but the broad axis. And he's made a bunch of longbows. Do we know how many longbows VortiX has right now? 5. So 5 can double shot a villager.
Oh, okay. We can basically see the military count subtract 1 because of the scout. And we see VortiX kind of repositioning himself. He knows he has to have the better numbers, knows he was up earlier, but still is not going for the kill. Something that surprises me, Viper with quite some gold in the bank. Maybe he wants to go for the wood upgrade as well.
It costs 175. He's got wheelbarrow. He can make it. It costs 175 and maybe 75 wood. More farms are coming out. As many farms as fit, basically. Now he's got to remove those berries, and that's part of the reason sometimes you don't want the first mill on the berries, because you don't have more space for it.
Now you have to go for a significantly slower food, right?
Yes.
With the berries to actually free yourself some spots.
Correct. And sometimes that can be annoying because you want to like settle your macro before a fight. You don't want to like keep checking when the berries are dissipated. Viper pivots into another gold because his forward gold was extremely exposed. He has just 2 longbows, and VortiX has gone up to 6 longbows. Is now getting forestry as well.
Viper stays on 2 longbows. This is so greedy.
It's so greedy. He's setting up for castle.
And he is basically giving his opponent a false security because he scouts the gold at front. Ah, you're not on gold. You're going to build longbow.
Yeah. But now the scout is checking out what's what. We see VortiX's scout looping around the bottom side. He sees that many villagers. 100% sure VortiX knows it's going to be a King's Palace or a White Tower rush.
Clicks the gold mine most likely to see how long the villagers have been on there. And he will get the news. Wow, you should probably have roughly around 343 gold in your bank. And then I better attack. Otherwise, I will be behind in the timing. Now the attack upgrade here for VortiX. He should win a fight quite significantly. 9 longbows against 2. Viper so greedy. I think he needs some small walls here between the woodline and the cliff at the right.
I can't enunciate how greedy it is to start horticulture when you're being attacked. Those resources could go towards units, a second archery range, so you have 3, together with the council halls 2. Blacksmith for upgrades, walls. He is dreaming like he's never going to be attacked.
That's the wall.
Oh, blocked by the scout!
Oh, Viper's in a world of pain. There's no way he can stop this. He can't contest this. He is even blocked away from the gold. He can't go to Castle Age behind this.
Viper has 32 food at 8 minutes. 32 population with just 3 longbows. His villagers can shoot back, but they're no match for the longbows. That's 1 shot, second shot coming in, a villager dies.
I really want to know his thought process here. Maybe he thought, okay, my opponent has to go for the second townsend, and now the nice wall behind it. But still, those longbows would trade off so nicely.
What are you going to do with... I mean, I don't think he can get enough longbows anymore. Of course, he can try to finish the wall to make sure that this is the only army he fights, but he's going to be denied in mining. Oh, he's losing so many villagers. He's got 29 against 32. 28 now.
And all the farms blocked, pushed away from the gold. And look at that, Viper now tries to go for the gold at the front, but Longbow's already waiting.
Is this a White Tower? Oh, he's losing more villagers. Is this a White Tower game where you make a keep? I don't think White Tower is good even.
I don't think you will get it up. Where do you want to build the White Tower? Villagers there. Viper, he looks so overwhelmed by the amount of longbowmen VortiX putting on the field.
24 wood. He's not gathering. He cannot make a single unit. He has 4 against 16.
So many kills here. 12 idols behind this one as well. Not Viper's shiniest game. Goes for King's Palace, Grubby.
Yeah, well, he lost many villagers. He's got to recuperate. There's no point having economic upgrade to percentually boost the output of villagers when you have no villagers. 15% extra on 0, still 0. As VortiX loops back around with his longbows, sees the King's Palace. He knew, of course, it's going to come out with that gold. Getting more shots in.
Oh, Viper drops down to 25 villagers, more dying from the side. I think VortiX could even commit, find some more villager kills. Viper, he is trying to micro those villagers away, but more and more losses. Oh god, this is costly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way back. It will take such a long time to equalize villager count. During that whole time, you're gathering less. The only way VortiX loses this is if he moves all his longbows on move command through the TC, which admittedly he is doing.
Try to find some kills. Viper is down to 23 villagers.
Oh.
VortiX can just chill. He is not fearing any military. Look at that. 23-0.
He's got 80 wood, 18 food, 0 resources per minute, practically. And there's the
And
King's...
we're up. Okay, this has to be GG
All
timing
right,
once
yeah.
VortiX gets to Castle Age.
Yeah, I don't think VortiX went for siege engineering. It's just poking with longbows. He's got his own King's Palace, no siege engineering, but he can go for veterancy. He actually is still mining, which is kind of nice. I saw Viper move. That must have been a GG tap. It's 2-1, still for the Viper.
I think this strategy has a chance if you can deny the scouting. But you saw VortiX, once he saw the gold, he moved out and went for the kill. I think you can get away if your opponents think, yeah, okay, we both have longbowmen, and typically, if you attack the opponent, you're not finding lots of kills, right? It's same numbers, they have defender's advantage. Yeah. That was basically what Viper was counting on. But once the scouts get in, and he's like, what? You're trying to be that greedy?
Yeah.
I will just get over there and kill you.
That little mini wall, make it a little bit faster, would help a lot. He got completely disrupted from his food and wood. I still think you're being a little bit optimistic calling it a strategy from the Viper. Like, what would you call it if you gave it a name? Something that goes Dark Age farms, wheelbarrow into mass farms, into
farming
King's
simulator. That's Mista's normal life.
Farmville. Wow. Yeah. Imagine being able to age up to age 3 with 2 longbows, 10 farms, and 2 to 3 economy upgrades. That would be the life.
Yeah, obviously, right? And that's what Viper was counting on. But if you get the King Palace up, it's a nice spot, right? You can't really attack from the top anymore. Can't go through that area. Then he can go into gold. And one Mangonel defends you. You have all the eco upgrades. And Viper had a lot of eco upgrades, right? He was living the dream if VortiX was just chilling for 3 minutes instead of attacking.
If VortiX went second TC.
But Viper didn't scout that, right?
Yeah,
it was just an assumption.
Yeah,
which is weird, right? Because people said, and you quoted them, the second town center is the best strategy in English, and neither player went for it.
Well, I said it's the reigning assumption, right? And things keep being reshaped.
Apparently building army is better.
Dude, how many times I had to learn that lesson in Age of Empires 4? You know, I went for like weeks and weeks playing and thinking about the game every day and keep telling myself I need to make more army when my opponent makes army.
Yeah.
And I keep not doing it.
Okay.
It was hard.
Well, maybe you didn't want to break upkeep and stayed at 50 pop.
Something like that. I mean, I love getting eco upgrades. I love underreacting. Viper's also a big underreactor. We wouldn't do good YouTube content like reviewing popular news where you're supposed to overreact.
Yeah. Whoa, interesting one. Abbasid against Rus. Viper goes for Rus.
Damn.
Civilization that didn't get a lot of love yet.
Okay, so his options were Holy Roman Empire, Mongol, French into the relatively predictable Abbasid dynasty. French runs into those long spears. Mongols has had an abysmal win rate. Holy Roman Empire into Abbasid is actually tricky because Abbasid can get their second TC early and then absolutely spam horsemen and camel riders. It's actually really hard to be active on the map as Holy Roman Empire against that. So the choice of Rus is interesting, but we also don't know the relation of this matchup as well. Rus obviously has the Imperial advantage, despite the prolificness of Abbasid being able to build many siege weaponries on the map. Rus has the superior range in Imperial with all those springled upgrades. But making it to Imperial is not a strat you can have at the start of a game.
Unless you're the Mista.
Unless you're the... He's like, yeah, I'm going to make 6 trebuchets.
Yeah, that's but he also, after we heard in the interview of Beastyqt also was pretty clueless going into that game as French, right? And then it made your life way easier to actually get to Imperial Age. Now, the Viper, with Rus, obviously we had big changes on them after they had a really dominant strategy. Yeah. Funnily enough, they were dropping in win rate. They weren't as dominant anymore. And then the buffs obviously came with some small delay, 1-2 weeks later, and now they feel like horse archer play not really an option. Professional scout still very likely, but doesn't feel that imba anymore.
Yeah, not that imba. I mean, we were making 7 scouts and taking all the deer and sheep from under your TC. And
14 to steal it from the opponent because you expected to lose 2-3.
yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. Now
Good
we
old
see a lot
times.
more of a measured usage of it, with 4 scouts, taking your own deer first. And if your opponent doesn't contest it, maybe in the late to mid game you'll go for some of your opponent's deer as well. Makes a lot of sense. But Rus, as far as the core army identity, it doesn't feel as fleshed out, right? Their men at arms aren't special. Their horse archers are, but although they can feel like a mobile villager harassing force, knights are kind of send and forget. They don't die to TCs. Horse archers must be babysat big time.
Yeah. Obviously, they also take some time, right? If you run away, they take some time to turn away and shoot again. And I think what just happened, because overlay guy rarely runs, right? He's a chain smoker. So I would assume they actually started the game without observer.
Oh.
Look at that. Even overlay guy is agreeing with me, because I've never seen him run that much.
Yeah, so he's like, guys, are we allowed to? You know, I actually remember sometimes in early esports when it was still so ghetto. You had like...
So ghetto.
Yeah. Oh, seriously, you had like players that were so narrow-minded and selfish. They would start games without casters, like in online matches, because they felt annoyed, and it didn't take much to set them off. They're just like, go, 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 and they just like press the start button, and then as like an online caster or a streamer.
Oof, that was surprising.
I think he has a new girlfriend. There's a bit of lipstick on his... you can see it on stream too.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Who gave him a kiss?
Well, I think there's only one
Was it
person.
Dave? Okay.
Yeah, there's only one person wearing lipstick here, and it's Dave. But wow, yeah. So people would like just start the game. They're like, "It's my game, and I can do what I want to," you know.
Yeah.
I actually shudder when I think of the lack of big picture thinking and empathy that some of the players had.
We still
But
had
these
that like
players-
3 years ago in AoE2 as well.
Really?
Yeah.
But these players here are all super chill.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Actually, like we had the discussions yesterday again, right? We found another potential bug in the game, for example, where we found out that barracks units still can animation cancel, and everyone was like,
we didn't want to actually share that with the public.
okay, it is public already though,
Well, how do you know?
because I posted it in the official Discord.
Oh, okay.
As handbook changes,
Okay.
and I mentioned it on stream.
Okay.
So I think it's somewhat public already.
All right.
Maybe we could have discussed it differently.
Don't use it, guys.
Yeah, don't be that person.
Nobody use it.
And yeah, I think everyone was really mature about it, right? They did some testing and they decided, okay, let's
Let's not use it.
be better human beings.
And don't tell the community.
Whoopsie.
Just don't use it, guys. Just be mature. It's only quick match points. Scout here for let's see, blue.
But what
Viper
is ladder points? Should you use it then?
Yeah, well, ranked isn't out yet. So
Okay.
I think Divine is going to use it.
Now that tower rushing is not an option anymore. Okay, now the dance here. Obviously, both want to make the last shot on a deer. 2 shots to kill a deer. If you do the first one, the other one will get the second one. And now the Viper is getting the second one there, and then he can double shot and should get all the kills. Gets that one quite easily. And now double shot should get 3 out of those remaining.
All right. Always want to have 2 scouts if possible, so you can secure the double hit so that no one steals.
Oh, there's another spot. That's so good for the Viper. He might get like 10 out of 14 deer of his opponent.
That's true. And presumably he's got scouts going for his own side of the map as well. VortiX, look at that mind cam. He's trying to get an arrow in between the 2 lovers that are shooting together. And he's got his own second scout coming in as well. Targets this one. He actually... Oh, look at that. Nice. That's the little micro game going on between a Rus and their opponent.
Really nice to see there, and how much they're clicking behind the scenes. As you assumed, third scout was getting his own deer spot. So Viper with quite a solid bounty of 170 and still a full deer spot of his to take, unless VortiX is contesting that one here at the right hand side. And obviously, as you all know, you can still get some more wolves, 25 each. And yeah, VortiX has no idea of this deer spot. Viper likely to get that one, guarantees himself 240 plus the sheep plus potential wolves. So tier 2 guaranteed, but still didn't see the deer spot, only finds it now.
Okay, so Viper's got a nice little bounty of gold from that, and he'd like to reach 250. You can actually take down a boar with pro scouts with just 4 scouts with a bit of micro. That's worth 75 points as well. Presumably he's got a bunch of wolves as well, the deer. Yeah, he should reach 250 really, really nicely. As for VortiX, we look at him to see roughly at the 330 mark, you could see Beastyqt players starting to get some stone. That's where they have the required amount of wood for a stone mining camp. We'll see if VortiX wants to go for a second town center.
Well, that will obviously be the most important thing to find out in the early game. And then the question, how is Ruth trying to react to that? Obviously, Ruth, as we all know, can play some crazy castle edge timings. We have seen like 8:20, 8 minutes if your build is super sharp. And then maybe some man-at-arm plays. And Beastyqt not typically having the easiest day to defend against man-at-arms if they get the second armor.
Yeah, and it seems like the best way to use men-at-arms when you're rushing with them is to just move them under your opponent's TC as quickly as possible. Don't really need to wait for many. It's really about creating idle villager time as much as possible, as early as possible. So, and then I think you should transition to something else. You don't stick with it, because eventually they are gonna die, but just you use it as an economic cover for other things.
You can also collect all the relics behind it, because most of the time you are going up with the Abbey of Trinity. That could be nice, obviously forcing the opponent to be very self-aware, have to defend. And Viper's macro is certainly good enough, and he loves those relics, loves to play the long game. And as we know, Roos, and you mentioned it earlier, would love to see that.
No stone for VortiX.
Interesting. Interesting indeed. Did delay the TC there as well in the China game.
You know what we saw a lot, let's say about a month ago, before the Horseman got its +3, well, Horseman got that buff maybe a month or month and a half ago, where they went from 1 ranged armor to 2. Before that, everyone in every matchup was playing mass archers. Now, pretty much never see it.
Yeah, mass archer's not really an option anymore. We did discuss it that Delhi could have been an option there, because it's so easy to heal them up again, all those archers. But typically in any other situation, you don't see that. And we see both players going for stable now, so Horseman, absolutely an option.
Of course, the Viper as Roos could go for feudal early knights. These are very expensive though. They cost as much as a castle age knight, and they don't have that level yet, so, and they're hard to heal up. They do come out with 3 armor, 3 ranged, 3 melee armor. Horsemen have 2 ranged armor. So they're significantly better at fighting enemy horsemen and spears, but they still suck too much against spears to make them. And although they can defeat horsemen, they're not faster than them, and they're in fact a little slower. Villagers would be the main target, but you make such a large investment that you first deal damage to self by making a knight in the investment, then you need to earn them back. Knight costs more than a villager, but of course killing villagers has an ongoing income deficit effect for the opponent. But unless you can really feel like you can kill 2 villagers per night, it may not be worth it.
VortiX is deviating from what we see from most Beastyqt players, in the sense that he, most of the time, is rushing out fresh foodstuffs, rushing out that second town center. Here we see early wheelbarrow, barracks a bit delayed. What's the idea behind this? Because normally the town center is already been built, but VortiX, only 200 stone without a lot of harassment.
Yep, 6 minutes is when you can make it without much units or with just 2 spears or so. He went for barracks and a couple of units early. He's going to be able to put down his town center at about 7 minutes or so, which is a perfectly fine delay. What surprises me perhaps even more is that Viper is staying in feudal age and making a blacksmith. What's that going to be?
Also has some gold there, obviously trickling in. Maybe a spearman horseman push with siege engineers.
I wonder if it's going to be ranged armor. Just make 10 horsemen, 8 spears, and just shove under enemy TC. They'll all have 3 and 1 ranged armor. No, it's going to be the siege engineering. Okay.
Well, but still, like, you could have maybe tried to go under there, right? Force a lot of idle time. The thing is, though, spearmen are already at home, and they can defend against that horseman and spearman attack.
Well.
Town centers can focus down those spearmen, and then you only need to deal with the horsemen. Viper could have been annoying, but this one feels more like a feudal age all-in by a Roos against Beastyqt, something I've never seen before.
Yeah, what's the play here? Is he looking to kill second TC and go back? Is he looking to poke away at Well, this becomes a prime attack target now, doesn't it? Considering the position.
So far out for sure. And Viper tries to go for one villager kill, finds it. Spearman not really attacking, and Viper even takes a second villager down. Trades off against 2 horsemen though. And yeah, as you mentioned, prime attack potential there. Archery range now being built defensively, if I saw that correctly, indeed. And Viper, yeah, if the TC was closer, for example, to the stone, maybe closer to the gold, a compact defense for VortiX could have been easier. This way, maybe some rams at the top, because VortiX wanted those deer.
Yeah, deer, of course, great source of food. He's going to be able to make many horsemen and spears. In fact, both of them are going for spears and archers now.
Scout could run in there, could get the intel. Normally, you build that ram in the stealth forest so that the opponent cannot see it, but Scout gets the intel.
I think he probably saw it. Can we quickly see VortiX's vision?
And
yeah, he saw it.
Good job there, and loses the Scout. He did his duty.
So he saw the ram. He's making lots of archers and spearmen from how many buildings? 1 range, 1 barracks?
Okay.
Okay, so he's got a lot in queue. We see those 4 archers, but they're not being mass-produced. Viper is also making spears and archers. The army count right now for Viper, 50% higher. Some of that is still horsemen, which have a great purpose into archers. And he's coming in with a ram, not targeting the second TC presently.
Big question for the Abyssal players, where is he taking the next berry bush? Because the berry bush is kind of where we have the army. Third one very far at the front. So it's all about those deer next to the town center. After that, maybe he even has to go into farming, unless he can clear up this army.
Doesn't have the wood for farming right now. VortiX can make about 3 farms or so. Viper's also doing some extensive micro with ram garrisoning, making sure that his spears are inside the ram so they can't get shot by the archers.
Interesting move for sure. Double archery range, stable, blacksmith, lots of production. Now add some more scouts. Quite interesting. We did not see professional scouts by the Viper. Has armor against the archers on the other side of VortiX. Not even the blacksmith.
Right now the villager count for VortiX is increasing. He's got 3 more than Viper. Nothing too huge yet. VortiX also is running out of wood a bit. He's gathering a lot, but he's mass spending it. This is a very slow and meticulous build-up for Viper in this feudal all-in. And there's no plan B right now, Neely.
Yeah, but 2 unanswered villager picks. He's happy with that. VortiX only 3 villagers ahead. Viper is just ramping up his army. I think, especially with more blacksmith upgrades coming in all-in, can work here.
Let's see how far that blacksmith upgrade for Viper is. He's got that ranged undermesh. He's getting the ranged attack. If we can look at the blue blacksmith for a second, so we can see where his upgrade is at.
Well,
Observer wants to keep the vision on the fight, and it makes sense. He's going in for a very unimportant mill. There's only 1 berry patch left.
Maybe the first attack there. Oh, Viper. That's actually a pretty fortunate hunting cabin. Next to the woodline and next to the deer.
Yeah, and Viper needed it because he just ran out of sheep.
Okay, now we see the finished attack upgrade for his ranged units, and finds a horseman kill, something he easily takes. Scout still around, horseman still guarding, and Viper has quite some queue, as we can see, but that's fair to say for both players. Both players going for an interesting army mix, but remember, Viper double archery range, now finds some kills against the spearman. A bit out of position, horsemen are jumping for the archers, but microing back. Viper now with the spearman there, not the most efficient unit, still feels like let's throw something to the front.
Archers are getting shots off on spearmen, but VortiX sequestered many of them to safety for now. Nice archer ball for Viper. Keep in mind he's got the better upgrades. He's 6 attack, 1 armor on his archers. He's getting good shots in archer versus archer. Horsemen and scouts are going in once again to start buffering the attack and doing bonus damage to the archers. Horsemen are now coming out from VortiX as well. He's gonna target the archers, but the spears are there. This is looking pretty good for the blue force of the Viper here.
Uh-oh, apparently military upgrades are quite good. Only scouts alive though. They are not the craziest damage dealers, more of a buffer. And as you can see, those archers are doing fine. More horsemen need to be added here for the Viper, but that feels like a feudal age all-in can be on the cards, because now both players pretty much reset with their armies.
49, 9 workers ahead for VortiX now. The archer count is actually proving to be the ultimate decider here, as well as the reinforcement routes for VortiX. It looked pretty bad for him. He was 50% military behind, but as the game dragged on, that 50% dwindled. They had roughly the same production, and as the fight started, it had dwindled to 20%. Viper moved in, a battle of micro ensued. It's back to a 50% advantage for Viper, but because of the reinforcement route, everything isn't here yet.
Oi, oi, oi. Well, that's the advantage for the defender. All his archers popping and constantly or instantly can start on shooting as well. And Viper maybe overextends a bit, maybe could go for another ram, but feels like, okay, I can trade off because there's not a lot of spearmen protecting those archers for VortiX right now.
Nice archer ball here for the Viper. He must have a good set of archery ranges to reinforce in this manner. The upgrades are actually the big decider here, Neely.
Yeah. And that's why the Viper can just trade off. He sees, okay, maybe I have 1-2 units less than you, but still, the damage output I'm doing is just so much better. And as you can see, VortiX, 5 archers in the queue, 4 spearmen in the queue, double horsemen in the queue. He doesn't have enough production. Look at that, only double archery range.
Yeah.
Look at that long queue. We need 1-2 more buildings.
2 ranges, a stable, and a barracks here for VortiX. He's trying to produce, and on the other side, 3 archery ranges. So really just 1 more. And he used that hunting cabin a bit for some scouts. And that big determiner, the blacksmith. Viper continuing with the pressure. A barracks coming for the buildings here. A range would really be the ultimate prize here.
Oh, and the other range is low on HP as well, as you can see at the bottom. Maybe goes for the kill there, and then he only needs to add spearman, has the perfect answer. Villagers now trying to move in. We already have textiles on the side for VortiX.
Textiles helps a lot, 50% bonus health, 75 HP on the villagers. He's just absolutely going for that ram, throwing fire. Didn't lose many villagers either. A very efficient defense by VortiX against that ram.
Oh, but just doubling down or tripling down, if you want to call it that way, because he is going for more, but thinks, okay, you want to attack me. Low HP horsemen are coming to the front, but Viper still has to be happy. I'm shocked how VortiX was delaying his upgrades. Only now has the +1 attack, goes for the armor.
Attack helps a lot here for his archers. Possibly in the current situation, a ranged armor first would have been better, since Viper has the biggest archer ball, so ranged armor would be the most relevant. Viper did get delayed on building those ramps. He's going back in there. VortiX is still gathering more resources. Loads on wood. He's got the wood to start making more ranges. That would feel like the key. He's got 6 archers in production from what? 2 ranges.
Yeah, look at that production also. Look at how many horsemen we have in the queue.
Oh my god, 6 horsemen from a single stables. If he's that rich, and he is, my word, a second stable and a 3rd range would have just done wonders, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, and look at that. Viper tries to sneak around, feels like, okay, this is normally the time where I took away double of your berries, and he tries to find the extra spot. Low HP horseman, doesn't matter, he will find this, and VortiX is scared, runs around, and now the big question, VortiX, he probably has to invest his wood into farming instead of the 2nd stable or 3rd archery range.
He needed those farms, he needed that food, but Viper's experience also revealed the berries there in the far side of the map, all the way on the top. Horsemen are going in. They do have that ranged armor now. They're starting to become a better tank. Viper falls back to the relative safety of his wooden fortresses, which start to shoot a bit as well. And an archery range got taken out. That puts VortiX really low.
And another one just needs 1 more hit. Villagers, oh no, that's spearman coming in. And oh, we see some upgrades for the towers, Grubby.
Ranged armor, 2 extra range, ranged attack, 2 extra range for wooden fortresses. It not only brings their arrow attacks to be further, I think from 6 to 8, but it also allows garrisoned units to shoot further as well. Interesting, not going with that early, let's say, arrow emplacement, but making sure that garrisoned units inside can shoot further. I don't usually see that one first.
Yesterday I said something stupid. I said landmark victories will be less common in the future because people will build their House of Wisdom more defensively. Look at VortiX, it's completely exposed.
Or maybe, I think you were right. Don't forget, VortiX also made his Regnitz Cathedral to the front against MarineLorD. So he just isn't like, he's not thinking about losing, he's just thinking about winning.
Yeah, obviously Regnitz Cathedral, you want to build it to the front because you can drop on the relics a bit earlier then. And look at that, house is now going down. VortiX 100 out of 110, can't go for the production, and now puts all the wood on the map. Look at the resources, could be close when it comes to food, but now the big fights are coming.
A couple of spears running forward into the wrong unit, into archers. They get shot down immediately, which means that the horseman would be good here for VortiX. He still has 5 archers in production. He's got money for a lot of horsemen, but doesn't have the stables to make them from. The fight continues. Archers are running away to the wooden fortresses that have a few garrisoned units. There's so many rams. There's villages starting to die. Nonetheless, VortiX still has a large villager advantage. I could still see him holding this, which is insane.
Is it that large though? Villagers might be dying in the next attack again because those archers have to fall back. Ram obviously can't attack another ram. Another house goes down, but VortiX built more in the back. And I think Viper, he's just committing fully here. And we again see 5 archers in the queue, 4 horsemen. VortiX not putting more production in there, and he has 650 wood floating.
Archers for Viper were momentarily attacking horsemen and or rams. Now he's going back into the main target of archers. The spearmen and the villagers are going to destroy that ram. VortiX has not been brought to his knees in all this time, and every second he survives, it gets more difficult for Viper to see this ending in a victory. The horseman is tanking amazingly there, though, as he gets many shots in on VortiX's archers.
Did Viper just lose all his rams? He had 2 extra rams, not really finding the kills. And Viper, he was aware of the potential of extra berries at some point. Did deny it at the front, but horseman got lost, and he allows the berries there in the center. Now ram with low HP coming forward, but sends more villagers to repair. Thinks better of it, though. Villager advantage up to 13 for VortiX already.
And 11 idle villagers for Viper that are not being addressed. Where are they?
Oh, it's tough to find sometimes, obviously. Ooh, those inefficient farms. Maybe a weird waypoint. Also, his wood line didn't look too pretty there. Kind of overchopped, and now is moving away. Wooden fortress and a second wood line makes lots of sense. Ooh,
Yeah,
nice spearman.
Oh, new worker line here on wood as well by VortiX.
And archers are coming in.
Oh!
But archers for the defense as well will find 1 kill and has to retreat now. Tower still helping out, but look at that. Pulls lots of villagers, and that wooden fortress already low on HP.
He's gonna take down that wooden fortress. A garrison here from Viper in the second one, the second fallback point. As it stands, though, the question is, does this game just go on? I mean, the villager discrepancy between them would put Viper in a really tough spot, unless he golden gates his way to his second TC. But it's still hard to compete with Abbasid's villager cost.
Neither player is on gold, so for right now at least, both are indicating, okay, I'm staying on feudal age and want to go for the aggression. That wooden fortress is going down. If only Viper had 2-3 more horsemen, that would not be possible for VortiX.
Yeah, this is, and he's making them, right? Horsemen are coming in. This is a decent fight, honestly, for Viper. I think he got a slightly better trade. At this point, VortiX is just accepting the bad trade in order to definitively and finally deal with that wooden fortress.
Are those all villagers?
They
I
were.
don't think they really want to stay in there now, right? But they helped out so much killing the wooden fortress, so they did their job.
Yep. They're still attacking.
Okay, now 1 horseman really low for VortiX, and it feels weird how like 1 single horseman actually changes if you can fight or if you can't.
Yeah, that's true. It does so much in this archer battle with the 3 ranged armor. Wow, what a big feudal battle. This could be maybe the record for the slowest castle, or at least top 3 slowest castle games, if we even go there at all in this game, for N4C games so far.
Ooh, let's see. Let's jump into the POV of the players. Another stable added for the Viper. He moves back. He goes for the stealth forest and tries to prepare himself a raid. And a 3rd stable even there. If it's not the 4th one. Triple archery range, 3 stables. Goes for the full production. Blocked off those berries and now wants to raid the gold. This is not easy for VortiX to maneuver.
He's kind of looking for... What's he doing? He's looking for something to gather from. He actually... You can see how long it takes. Like, you actually start to appreciate the extreme management of the macro economy at large, as he's thinking like, okay, boars, stone, berries, what am I going to go for? It looks like he decided to go for the boars with that hunting cabin there. On VortiX's side, he started to lock things down. He's feeling pretty good about surviving this all-in for so long. With his villager count, he started to protect what he has built up.
Now, can he actually fight against that horseman? Doesn't look like it. Spearman for the defense required there. Villagers pushed away. And right now, he doesn't have the 600 gold to click up. And Viper, he sits at 100 or 100 population. VortiX plus 20. That defense is happening. And Viper can go for the boar. Gets another 75 bounty as well. But still, not really looking towards Castle Age.
440 bounty means he needs to kill 1 more boar in order to reach it. It's right there on his path, actually. But, I mean, I almost never remember that. I'll look at Twitch chat after I played a 57-minute Roost game, and they're like, the boar! You forgot to kill the boars!
Oh, yeah. Certainly could happen here. That Twitch chat is telling him afterwards. Archers, they're kind of caught off guard in the center. Production looks pretty hot. We have the main push at the top, and Horsemen are pushing the Viper away. Those walls will finish in time, but only after some losses because Archers are behind.
VortiX now finally has the bigger army. He's got a big ball of horsemen and archers, and he sees the Vipers attack here on the side. That should make VortiX really happy because he knows I can make as many walls as I want. I can pull back my villagers anytime I need to. I can stop anytime. Meanwhile, his attack is going to be less well defended. Yeah, look at that. Villagers go away, no problem. Army out of position. VortiX has a massive superior force.
Oh, and Viper doesn't really have the idea because we're fighting in the stealth forest there, so he doesn't really see how many archers do you have. Apparently you have quite a bit because my archers are dying. And as you can see, reinforcements tough to judge. Villagers have to be pulled, and VortiX is close to the production heart of the Viper.
Taking down that fortress would all but guarantee this victory here for VortiX as he smashes through and he attacks back into his tormentor of the last 20 minutes or so. A feudal all-in, finally held off by VortiX, and his counter-attack is ruthless and efficient.
Oh, and pulled the villagers away quite beautifully. The Viper is killing that ram though, so Wooden Fortress can deal something. Horsemen now getting to volley. Archers there for the defense, but it just feels like Viper's not really having the top army at full efficiency. If he had it over here, he could maybe make a hold happen, but like this, it feels like VortiX can even defend this with the second wave.
Yeah, no point even if he killed 20% of the economy of VortiX when he's losing the battle here. He already has the worst economy. It would take a lot of villager kills for him to actually feel ahead in economy. And with something so important, so urgent to deal with the home defense, and him not attributing his full army to it, that feels risky indeed.
And those barriers will run dry, but not important. The clear up is there for VortiX, maybe with a second wave. Viper is holding here as well, but it's just so clear how much better the economy is getting for VortiX, and Viper had quite some losses. Advantage around 35.
It's so funny how in Age of Empires, all the games, 4 included, basically it's a game of limited info, where you need to scout in order to get info, but the one piece of info you get from your opponents is how many landmarks, sacred sites they have, and when they age up. And that feels strange to me as a formerly other RTS game player, and sometimes other RTS game player. You suddenly get that info, castle age reached. And that is a very demoralizing message to get in cases like this.
Actually, a really weird thing. In Age of Empires, you know the score screen at the end of Age of Empires, right?
Yeah.
In Age of Empires 1, you can access that during the game.
What?
So you can constantly see how much gold they mined, what's their villager count, and with the Definitive Edition, Age of Empires patched that one out, but all the pros said, no, we want it like that. And they stopped playing Definitive Edition and play the old one.
Of Age of Empires 1.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
But now it's in the Definitive Edition as well.
Well, that's just, I mean, that's an old game with old points of view. I mean, it's valid. You know, if they like the game that way, they stuck with the game for that long, I think they deserve a big say in how the game continues to be played. I doubt that this decision will either attract or not attract people that have never played the game before. I don't think it'll be a big point. But that's funny. So you're like studying a spreadsheet at the same time to see where they might be, what resources they're harvesting. Well, I'm glad it's not a thing in AoE 4. But that Castle Age call-out that VortiX has reached, that's a pretty big deal. Meantime, though, Viper did a really good job killing all of the army. Look at the supply count. It's actually not that big of a difference anymore, despite, of course, Viper not being in Castle Age at all.
Is it all the army, though? 25 and men-at-arms coming in, and that's not a pretty army to address men-at-arms. Some horsemen, some archers here, and once we have like 10 men-at-arms coming over, Viper will be in lots of trouble, and he's just so far away from Castle Age still.
Yeah.
Oh, but nice raid.
Doesn't have any of the food or gold required. Does have a very high food income. And he's doing a little bit of counter-harass. Nice job. Making it harder and difficult for VortiX, even in such overwhelming odds. But as the first men-at-arms of VortiX are streaming in, well, those don't really have a counter in Feudal.
Oh, but that's a lot of losses here potentially. If the archers are moving in, those villages are unprotected. The Viper debates quite some army away. Look at that. Men-at-arms trying to chase those horseman raids. Not really how men-at-arms are designed.
Yeah, that's true. They're not a good chase unit. If Viper is active and proactive with this, he can possibly start to go to Castle Age himself. He is... Wow, he suddenly got a lot of gold. He sold... I want to say he sold food probably at the Golden Gate. I didn't know that he had such a surplus. Maybe he went like... buy food, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. I'm not sure exactly. But either way, he used the Golden Gate. He now suddenly has enough resources to go to Castle, and he does.
Wow, still 47 military. If we can upgrade all that, maybe mix in like 5 to 10 crossbow. VortiX needs to go for a different army, and he probably wasn't counting on that.
10-minute arms are in production.
Wow. Yeah, then we need more than 5 crossbow for sure. Viper still has the advantage though to keep VortiX kind of on his base, right? The attack is coming, and Viper, he has enough archer ranges, he has enough stables, so could go for some army. What is he going for? 3 crossbows the opener, followed up by some knights with the Castle Age Knight upgrade.
He made men-at-arms, cancelled it, made the knight, cancelled it, made veteran knight. Now he's following up with knights and a warrior monk. So it's going to be knights and crossbows. This is absolutely the right answer into men-at-arms. It's too late to start making your own men-at-arms. So this is the right answer. He just needs numbers.
Okay, now the big question again, just on the minimap, now some farms being dropped by VortiX. Men-at-arms are coming in, still not having the second armor upgrade though. Goes for the attack over the armor with Men-at-arms. Quite an interesting choice. Viper needs crossbow numbers desperately.
He's killing these men-at-arms here with horsemen and archers. Crossbows are coming out as well. Warrior monk still in production. A lot of the farms and wood for the Viper has been disrupted. He's in this really difficult situation where his food suddenly dropped. He's got no food and barely any income. If he can recover from this, he can get the unit types that are required, maybe get a couple of walls off, but VortiX actually has him on the brink.
Somewhat.
Viper's on the metaphorical precipice, and all VortiX has to do is to shove hard.
Let's take a look. Oh, Horseman buying some time, right? And the raids of the Viper are really solid.
So good.
It feels like Viper already killed like 30, 40 villagers this game.
I think so, yeah.
VortiX production is obviously crazy with the opposite, but look at that. Now villagers have to be pulled and spearmen out of position multiple times.
How much mileage can you get out of 6 horsepower? That's the question here. Viper can get so much out of it. It's sick what he's doing with these.
Yeah, certainly buying himself some time, giving himself some... also time to get to his better army, and well, more men-at-arms in the queue. Now we go for more warrior monks. Maybe behind this Viper can get the relic advantage, but oh, mass men-at-arm and mangonels.
Stealth
need lots of
forest.
springles.
Stealth forest though, he gets the jump on the mangonels. The mangonels are not firing yet. One goes down immediately. They're going for the second mangonel, which get a shot that is mostly dodged by the archers. 2 mangonels go down. Great pickup from the Viper and usage of that stealth forest.
Why does it feel like what's shown on the camera? Viper's doing all the right moves. He's defending, he's raiding, so much is going in his favor. But VortiX is increasing population so heavily.
He's got more villagers. And there's also unharassed villagers. We're looking at the action, but the big story here is in where the action is not. All those farms around the town centers of VortiX, that large cluster of villagers on the left side on that gold mining camp. Do I count 3 town centers as well? Is that right? From VortiX. 1, 2, no, it's 2.
Okay.
But still, a large villager count. He can kind of stop, but he isn't yet. There is a bit of relic pickup by Viper. 1 relic, 1 sacred site. Still making warrior monks. And now that he's making knights, VortiX picked up on that and he's going mass spearman.
It feels a bit like something that my coaches always get really, really annoyed by. When people come over here, Neil, I want to improve, and we sit down, and they show me some recorded games or show me their POV, and they're like, here I want to micro, and here I want to do those tricky moves, and I actually tell them, like, that's absolutely unimportant. Make sure that you get the resources on the map, that you build villagers. And they're like, but no, I want to dodge the mango shot. No. Obviously, we are showing all the highlight scenes. We are showing all the great plays that the players provide. But what's happening behind the scenes is the actual greatness that they have.
Exactly. You're so right, Neely, because it's like TV poker, where if you watch it, you think that you should play every single hand and always go all in and bluff with 7-2 offsuit. Whereas, of course, that's not the way of things. It's the solid foundation, the underpinnings of everything That's what makes AoE4 such a beautiful, magical game, with the extensive management of villagers all over the map, multitasking, fights everywhere, and sometimes a keep in your face.
Ah, yeah, TV poker. There are some wild stories there for sure. Some might even think that it's a good idea to go all in with Pocket Kings, but everyone knows it isn't.
Yeah, I knew that.
Good. Sacred Sites now being controlled here, and we are already having 2 TheViper, also 3 relics, but this is a nice fortification in the center, and that's kind of a reminder of the game yesterday that we have of TheMista when he played Abbasid and got so much siege and a big push rolling for himself.
Is the wall actually open? Yeah. VortiX actually made a large wooden wall, but he forgot the little hill wall on the left. This. It's open.
Oh, and we'll find a raid there at the gold. Oh, that's going to be lots and lots of kills. But Viper, 80 population behind. And as you mentioned earlier, even if it kills 20% of the economy of the opponent,
doesn't do anything when you're losing your base or when even your opponent is going full TheMista.
Oh, 1 landmark already down. Obviously -3 relics there as well. The other 2 landmarks pretty close here. MarineLords are coming in, and Viper simply not having enough Springles for my taste, or they all instantly get sniped.
Yeah, there's so many Springles here for VortiX. How do you get Springles enough to stop such reckless Springles? Knights, Knights are here doing a little bit of work, hitting some villagers, but if anything, I would say... Oh, nice shot there by Mangonels. 1 landmark is down, second one is getting attacked.
Villagers are being pulled.
If Viper can survive for 10 minutes, though, he gets the Sacred Site victory.
Okay. Oh, no, only 940, Grubby.
9:36, we'll keep you updated. 9:35 right now.
And to get some raids in, but as we see, also 90 population behind, loses his main town center, obviously already lost his Abbey of Trinity. Next step, the Golden Gate for VortiX.
And what is the acronym for Golden Gate?
GG.
GG. There we go, just go for the GG, VortiX.
But apparently he sits back a bit further, sees now a keep is being built there at the top, got some shots into those villagers with the MarineLords, but he does not care. Keep is still helping out a bit, but he's going for the kill, and Golden Gate, not the craziest amount of HP. Viper needs to hold this.
VortiX is going for the GG. Viper has to scramble to the defense of it to prevent the GG from going down. Well, the good thing is if GG goes down, he doesn't have to GG because he'll be ejected the frack out of this game. Wait, yeah, that's it, GG.
Did he realize? Oh, look at that! The esport O with the mouth. He was like, whoopsie!
Does the Viper know? Like, I know he's been kind of split between 2 games. Does he know landmark victory is a thing?
Well, he watched the games the other day, so yeah, certainly he now knows what happened. But that's the like, oh, I didn't see that one.
I have an esports confession to make. I didn't realize that was my last landmark.
Like, though, I thought I was winning there with 70 pop against your top 100.
Yeah, it was like killing villagers at the Sacred Site victory. I thought it was 10 minutes. 10 minutes passed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Wait, did I win? Like, why do my units turn grey?
You got lucky there that you killed my landmarks.
Lucky noob, lucker.
He also 3 relics there, lost those. Game number 5. After being ahead 2-0 for the Viper.
Yeah, VortiX scrambling back in there. He lost with the Chinese Tower Rush. He lost with...
the opening match, Mongols against Abbasid.
Yeah, Mongol double TC, Knight Harass with some Relic Collection and Mangonel defense. He lost that one. Abbasid triple TC, big Castle Age push. And now we're down to the nitty gritty, the final game, final map.
And that's Viper's home map. I would assume Mongolian Heights being banned. Let's take a look at the drafts.
I do believe
together.
it was. High View, have we had High View yet?
Drum roll. Well, we will have it as game number 5. Mongolian Heights. Where is...
Let's... Wait.
Overlay?
Altai is both banned and picked.
Overlay guy.
Omega lol.
Overlay guy. Altai is banned and picked. Well, let's assume VortiX banned Mongolian Heights after he saw how crazy good Viper played against DeMusliM there.
VortiX looks a bit like a Mongol. You see, like the cool, the braid in his beard. Yeah, but he banned the Mongolian Heights. He's gonna step out for a bit to take a little bit of a Mongolian break as the Viper against VortiX goes into their 5th map. There's a few civs left: French, Mongols, and Holy Roman Empire.
Okay, and we see Mongols against French there. Viper, with what we would think, at least before the tournament, should have advantage going into this.
Yeah, and now? Well, French are second worst in the win rates. The tier list right now is looking as follows. French number 7, Mongols number 8, as based on this tournament.
So, battle of the losers?
Battle of the... yeah.
Well, it's good for someone, right? You're increasing someone's win rate at least.
Yeah. And I'm hoping, I'm just positing there, like, I've gotten so used to complaining about Mongols in quick match and on stream that for them to suddenly actually be really bad, like, I'm fearing buffs. Like, I'm thinking step readout is going to get buffed to like 70% gold income instead of 50. Khan will have like 9 range and 16 damage in Castle Age. I don't want to see Mongols bottom because it will remove one of my favorite hobbies of complaining about them.
Ah, and Twitch chat, right? What can they talk about? Will be tricky for them.
They're still, I mean,
There's still 7 other civs
they still
complaining
think
about
Delhi is weak, or no? I think they picked up on that as well. That Delhi is strong. So either way, memes aside, right? High view. Mongols against French. You see the perspective from the Mongol side. So far against French, almost all we've seen is towering the gold and then the wood, because an unabated knight archer pressure can be quite strong. It doesn't get stopped by Mangudai or horsemen per se. So where does that take us? Is Viper going to do a tower rush? Is he going to copy the Mista and go for a silver tree trade boom on feudal, or will he do a VortiX style castle age, perhaps minus the second TC?
I don't see a silver tree for him. I don't really think that's something he practiced with. I don't really think he feels like that's something he can get away with against French. I could see a tower rush because it just feels so linear. I could also see like a small, like the typical Viper is like spearman defense into fast castle and then adjust. It feels weird, but that's how he likes to approach. Like, keep his scout alive, keep his Khan alive, and get the intel. Is the opponent going for a big mass? But most of the time, French then easily can get to some archers, and then he has to go into horsemen, and then he gets into the scenario that we don't really want to see for a Mongol player.
And if he goes fast castle, do crossbows or men-at-arms really avail you when you've got 1800 worth of resources less units into Mass Knight and Archer? My instinct says no. But if Mongols goes with Mass Spear, Mass Archers to deal with Knight and Archer, or maybe Mass Spears, Mass Horsemen, is that something they want to be stuck on forever in feudal?
That's the big question. And the Viper, we will see him in the blue trunks. French for VortiX here, who is building a second scout, wants to get as many sheep as possible. The Viper not adding a scout. Oh, actually added a scout as well.
Did VortiX played against the LucifoN in this tournament?
Yes.
And Viper played against LucifoN?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So if VortiX, no matter what, if VortiX wins, both of them get a Buchholz point. I mean,
LucifoN doesn't care about who wins here.
Okay.
LucifoN is only affected by the next 2 sets.
Did Leenock and VortiX play each other?
Leenock and VortiX, maybe.
Yeah.
So many matches.
Yeah, Buchholz is a complicated system. Well, let's focus on this game.
Well, the first Buchholz.
What?
The first Buchholz.
What about second Buchholz? You know, there's triple elimination systems too.
Yeah,
in brackets.
Yeah, it's basically the Swiss system. If you cut it after someone has 3 wins or 3 losses, it's the same thing. If you just if MarineLorD stops playing, after he's 3-0, and Viper stopped playing after it's 0-3, then it's the same format.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Interesting.
Yeah, it's what ESL does a lot.
Never seen that. Never played in one either. And if I don't play in a format, I understand as much about it as Twitch chat. Generally, I need
so
to
you know
lived
everything, and make sure to tell everyone what's the real truth.
They need to know my opinions. I will state them loud and proud in Twitch chat. Which, by the way, I've learned so much from Twitch chat, man. In all of the games I played, where I was like proudly arrogant, thinking I know it all. No, sir.
You fool. You fool.
No longer, because I'm open to backseating.
Okay. That's some strengths. And like, how could you grow as a person if you wouldn't listen to Twitch shit?
That's right, because you see a mirror reflects back at you, but only a window lets light in.
Wow.
Perfect. Thank you for that moment of silence. That was wonderful and not awkward.
Wow.
It was beautiful. We're having beautiful moments here at N4C. Double pasture opening from the Viper in this game. VortiX decided to go without the double pasture, and Viper is going with it. So very reminiscent of his English opening on Altai, where he went for the wheelbarrow and farm opening. We have a glimpse of his vision now. Let's see. He's gathering 2 sheep. He's got the double scout set up. He's bringing many sheep back. I want to say he has about maybe 10 sheep or so, or maybe even 11. With the double pastures, he's going to be extremely well provided for in terms of his resources. And Fast Castle is looking like a likely bet.
It just feels like 1 village on wood, so barracks obviously not an option here anytime soon. And 3 villages on gold relatively late. Will be interesting. Obviously, all the villages will be relatively compact. Gold, a bit further out, but with 1 tower. I think he should be fine. Now the big question mark, he needs to find out, is my opponent going for professional scouts? What's he up to? How many villages does he have on gold?
Yeah, exactly. And there's the Khan harass on the villagers. And VortiX, he's going to try and kill sheep. Immediate pullback there. And the perfect pullback by the Viper, and as he comes back in again. So for French, it's pretty linear. It's going to be Knight Archer generally, but like you said, it's all about Pro Scouts yes or no. And the mill is the giveaway for that.
Yeah, but not giving it away because there is no mill for now. And since quite some villagers in there, delays his Fury Age timing slightly without finding the kill. Scout on the other side dies. Ooh, VortiX a bit of a mismacro.
Easy to see how that would happen, right? Because we had the perfect appreciation for what he was looking at. Villager micro. He actually put his villagers 2 more times as he reaffirmed the building command on the landmark, which actually slows them down as they self-stun for a second when they acquire the new command.
Ah, yeah.
So that all together with the garrison and then losing his scout is a series of unfortunate losses and a small little blow, no doubt, to the confidence of VortiX.
And Viper was luckily able to keep his scout alive. Now send some more villagers onto gold, but actually not that many. So we thought a bit about Castle Age because we saw the double pasture, but that's actually not going to happen.
How do you know?
Because he only has 1 villager on gold. That doesn't feel like too likely of an option. Obviously, he can go for the safe food for now, then build the tower and only then move out. But he wouldn't really be expecting too much army for now. Plus, lots of villagers on deer stones.
Yeah, I don't actually like the idea of Fast Castle into French. I think a pasture, when you make early pastures like this, you make your food last for a very long time. It's a perfect setup for mass horsemen and spears. We haven't really seen Mongols go heavy feudal army like the old days. They either tower rush, have a 6:30 feudal and then a 9-minute castle, or straight fast castle. The one thing we haven't really seen is just a regular army. Couple of eco upgrades perhaps, barracks, stable, lots of units. We haven't seen it much. I would like it. And there we go.
Ooh.
Barracks.
Spearmen indeed out, and now we are going for the stable. So indeed the army composition that you wanted to see. The question now though, why do we send villagers on gold if we're going for spearmen and horsemen?
Well,
probably to get the horseman upgrade for fuel, right?
Yeah, that's the downside for Mongols here. When you don't make a Dark Age stables and you make a few horsemen and then you get the upgrade, then you can say, I'm happy with the way that works. This time it's purely a disadvantage. Nice kill there on the villager by that knight. Gets away, and the spearman barely attacked it at all. But yeah, he's got to get that horseman upgrade in order to make them good.
Okay, and now indeed gets that upgrade in. We still see double pasture, seeing some more spearmen, but only Dark Age spearmen as well. So it feels like Royal Knights and Archers, they feel close to Castle Age army, and Viper feels more close to Dark Age army.
Correct. He's getting the spearman upgrade, horseman not yet. So if you just put things on a list, what happened? VortiX is French, therefore makes villagers faster. He killed a villager, and Viper made a second scout from his town center. He also had to move his town center, which cost him a villager. Altogether, that means Viper is 2 to 3 villagers down from that. VortiX is up 2 villagers from being French. 5 disparity. Viper needs 2 unit upgrades, Horsemen and Spears, in order for them to be feudal equivalents. And VortiX does not. They start out like that. And then Viper also has the worst unit. Knights are stronger into Horsemen. So that is certainly interesting. What does the Viper have? He does have that Deerstone's movement speed aura. And he's got the pastures that generate sheep, so he doesn't need to go far.
But what are the next steps behind this? He adds some more pastures, so wants to stay, well, with lots of sheep, obviously, next to his town center. Lots of villagers on wood here for VortiX. Could indicate that he wants to drop his 2nd or 3rd military building. And also could indicate that a blacksmith would be an option. Just lost 150 wood. A barracks even. Ooh.
So it makes sense. Just a few spears mixed into your archer ball makes you so much better into Horsemen, the stun and the damage. So 1-1-1 is a harder army to control, but it is much, much more flexible and useful and good to micro. Viper finishing his upgrades for spears, has the upgrade for Horsemen. Doesn't have his own archers yet, so it will be hard for him to deal with those spearmen, actually.
We just see the blacksmith finishing, and now spearman v spearman fight would be going in VortiX's favor simply because he has the +1 attack. Siege engineer is quite interesting.
Yeah.
He really feels like he can do the damage. Thinks Viper will be greedy, but Viper actually going for the raid, and that's a low HP villager from earlier.
Nice, nice. From the Khan, kept there. 1 villager goes down, 2nd villager goes down. That's an extremely important set of pickoffs for the Viper. Let's see what else he can get. Meanwhile, there is a large army accumulating on the edge of the stealth forest for VortiX. He sends some units back. He sends archers back to deal with Horsemen. But he goes in again. He's like, no, threat passed. Put a couple of spear there, maybe. Did he? Yeah, 1 spear.
This is relatively close. 2 spearmen there should be fine dealing with those 4 horsemen. Don't really want to jump, don't really want to fight. I'm surprised that siege engineers is really the option here. Viper,
yeah,
he's still continuing to produce and now goes for textiles. He's fine against this. And only 3 royal knights. Not the scariest thing ever.
Did Viper get siege engineering?
No.
Yeah, it's VortiX, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so maybe he just wants to take down the outpost on the gold and deny gold in that way. It's kind of hard to go for the Ovu and pastures considering the position.
I think he expected Viper to be more greedy.
And Viper generally is.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is correct by VortiX based on the table image that Viper has shown so far. But Viper is fully into feudal army. Both of them are spending their resources extremely well.
Yeah, it is a battle shark versus shark here on the poker table. Now horsemen are coming in. Spearmen only now joining the party. 1 knight instantly goes down.
Very nice fight for the Viper,
and horsemen arriving.
Horsemen from the flag! Rohirrim!
And he will find some kills. Scout now, the Khan helping out as well. Spearman numbers not that pretty though. Tower helping from distance. Feels like both players bleeding heavily.
The Ram is just watching here and not doing anything, not going for the outpost or anything. Viper is in a really good position. He killed the army here. The Knights have gone down. They're very, very expensive. As we say that, though, there is really a lot of blood on both sides. The war of attrition continues. VortiX streams in more units. More and more archers coming out. The Khan now chasing, moving and shooting and scooting.
Would love to see that fight again out of the POV of the Viper. How he managed to play with those horsemen, send them from the side there, and then pulled them back over and over again. Because spearmen were so close to them, but never really got the hits in. Beautiful micro.
Viper pulls back before it gets too bad, loses the outpost, which is a nice pickup for VortiX. It was an emplacement outpost. Now VortiX is going for stone. He doesn't have any yet, so we're really catching him on his stone debut, as he's got, what, 15 villagers there. So it's a double drop-off. 11 villagers, crazy amount. He's going into a second TC and farms. He's taking the tempo, right? He's rolling down the hill, he's snowballing, he's making ramps, making units. He's like, I'm all in. And suddenly he just stops and he starts like taking out his laptop and doing like long-term planning. He goes from this exciting momentum moment into like a complete turnabout. Second TC, farms. What a crazy switch up, and risky as well, because Viper is probably thinking he needs to keep making army for the next attack.
Yeah, I didn't know snowballs had handbrakes, but apparently they do. And just stopping like mid-hill.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there could be like a valley where like you go up a bit and you didn't have enough momentum and you're like, this is a nice place as any to plant some roots. Start
and
living.
collect some stone. And now we see the fight again. Now moving in, as you can see, Horseman and T is
Wait,
preparing
is
the
this an
ones from the
instant
side.
replay?
That's an instant replay.
But it doesn't say instant replay on the screen.
That's why I told you instant replay. And Spearman now focusing down the Knights, and now you can see the Spearman numbers completely dwindled down. As you can see, only one there at the left-hand side. Knights are being dealt with, and now more Spearmen are arriving. And Viper does a beautiful job of focusing those down so that his horsemen stay more efficient.
You see that spearman there standing at the top?
Yeah.
It like looked at the knight and it just stopped, cowering in fear. Now he found his stone again and went for the other knight.
After the Knight turned the back.
Yeah, if horses see you, man, it's scary. Big creatures.
Viper soon going towards Castle Age, and VortiX with the second town center now should get a solid lead in villagers. 5 villagers ahead after the losses with the raid. Not your typical advantage there. Typically, French would be like 10, 12 ahead after we see the Khan die. Should be back in time for Castle Age though.
Now, Viper has a lot of money. He just went for Castle Age. So it's super interesting to see that difference here. We don't usually see such a synchronized difference in two different directions of advantage. 2TC into Castle. At this moment, VortiX has not much food, not much gold. And it's going to take him some time in order to get enough to go Castle. So he's going to fight with feudal knights and archers into whatever. Viper, I think the best play for him, considering his current income and his fast castle, would be crossbow and spear. That should be an army that, well, I guess it's weakened to archers, actually. Crossbow,
Plus
spear, mangonel would be the dream, maybe.
Maybe he thinks, okay, you're double TC. Maybe I can make something happen with men-at-arms. We mentioned multiple times that with their armor, they can do something. Viper, still eco upgrades only. No, none in the blacksmith. And now the Q, not really telling us anything. He reached Castle Age, but no production.
Normally, oh, there we
Siege
go.
engineers out of him.
Advanced siege engineering, men-at-arms mangonel. That's the play.
Oh yeah, with some spearmen in front so that he can deal with those knights coming over.
Yep.
That's a crazy force, and likely that he will put on a lot of pressure against VortiX, who doesn't really have a lot of power in his army right now.
And Viper's doing the thing where you, instead of upgrading the feudal units you have, you use the remainder of them in small commando forces in order to pick off some units. I encourage anyone that plays H4, when you have like 4 or 10 archers and you reach Castle Age, instead of upgrading them because you have them and you like to see things cleanly transition, just take like 5, send them all the way around the map, and then just attack a resource location. It pays off in dividends. It pays off so much. It looks like Viper's actually using it more as a forward force to surprise any would-be attackers. But if he just takes 5 archers, goes around the bottom side of the TC, it's so valuable.
Viper not having the scout here. Also VortiX not having a scout. On high view, such an important unit. And now you can see the scout is coming over, and that gives him the heads up.
Oh, the mangonel gets a shot off of the villagers. He targeted the villagers.
Okay, maybe second volley there could get 5 kills, and goes for the archers, finds some kills there.
That's 1 shot from the mangonel. Can it get a second shot? No!
Oh.
1 shot on archers, 1 on villagers. Not really what you would want. His army is getting crushed. Viper!
And that's what we said, right? Archers and knights, they feel like a Castle Age army. Knights so good, and Viper simply not having the numbers. Military upgrades, non-existent as well. Maybe he could have waited a bit longer. 5 more spearmen, 5 more men-at-arms, and he would have had such a better army.
2 men-at-arms, archers and spears is not what you want from a Castle Age timing attack. This was weird. I don't know if it's because we see everything, but that was weird. He has 1,600 food. Nearly.
What's happening?
There's a level of inexperience in the management of the resource economy. He hasn't been in this situation, and he's trying to do the right thing based on his instincts, but he's off. Now what? He's gonna go Imperial with 50 pop.
Can we look at his POV? What is happening? This feels so weird. Like, he's not getting the resources out on the map, and that's typically something that he's so good at. Look at the queue. 1 man-at-arm, 2 spearmen. And now a market. Is he really trying to imp? That's not a thing, Grubby.
No, it's not a thing. Imperial.
Adds more barracks. So what's his thought process here? He has some idea about the stealth forest. Now, some more towers. I don't mind this. It just feels like his queue could be so much longer.
He's got like 3-4 unit production buildings, 4 idols that he's currently not doing anything with, heavily reattributed towards wood so he can make more mangonels. He obviously wanted to do some kind of mangonel timing attack. I think he ran out of lumber. He saw the mangonel potential for getting a shot off there, and then he just kind of went for it, but only 2 Castle Age units. Oh, now there's knights on the villagers.
Oh,
Great counterattack by VortiX.
5 might make it into the tower, hopping in there. 4 at least made it. More lances now. And Viper did a bit of a better job putting at least his food out on the map, but still floating so much gold. It feels weird. He was adding more production next to his second over, though.
VortiX is very rich. Still in feudal, by the way. He's getting closer to castle. And his units should be outmatched, but they've been used so piecemeal by the Viper that the Knights have honestly felt just fine. They have not. It's not really been a problem.
Khan gets away. Those Knights are chasing, but once the Spearmen are joining, that should not be a really good fight, and that's why VortiX is retreating. Makes lots of sense. Oh, Springer placement on that tower here at a beautiful spot, and Viper finally mustering up some reasonable army. Only 17. His opponent above 100 population, still in feudal age.
Lots and lots of villagers. Finally, enough resources to go castle. VortiX has it. He goes for it. He starts his guild hall somewhere on the map. And if he reaches that, it's lights out for Viper. Viper's army is same size. There is still a tiny chance, tiny chance for him to get an attack here with mangonels that actually hurts. But it is dwindling.
What are the men-at-arms achieving? Don't we want to go like Spearmen exclusively here?
Well, you want men-at-arms into archers and spears to protect mangoes from knights. That's pretty much what you want. What is that? Is that a guild hall?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on food for now. Maybe it will be changed later on. Now moves away from that gold. Obviously knows, okay, mangonels are pretty good against villagers.
Mangonels starting to shoot. There's 3 mangoes here. What is VortiX getting? Knight upgrade, veteran archers, and arbaletier. Arbaletier gonna do great into the men-at-arms. Honestly, what Viper needs right now is a couple of knights, yes, but also like 4 or 5 barracks worth of spearman production.
Yeah.
I don't think you need more men-at-arms, like you said. Lots and lots of spears to stop knights. The mangonels will take care of the rest.
4 spearmen is what he has. Now goes for some farms.
He needs 20.
4 barracks. Yeah, he has 4 barracks, I mean, and is queuing up a bit more. Now he's running out of food slowly but surely. Could still go for either a next town center or some more pastures. I think that could be a problem with only 4 here for him. I think a massive fight is upon us any second.
Vipers has a lot of wood now. He had put 24 villagers on wood before.
Ooh, perfect timing.
A nice little deny there on the gold. VortiX has got quite a few knights already. That's going to kind of stop the future production of knights. VortiX's economy is a little bit lower than you may expect, probably because of travel time.
Also, farms not crazy. Oh, villagers are being pulled. Oh my god, Grubby!
Mangoes! Oh, it's a villager attack on the mangonels! He's going all in, VortiX!
Full all in here, so many villagers are being pulled. Mangonels obviously so good against low HP units, but it feels like enough knights are being sent with it.
Why is there a trebuchet here?
Oh, for aggression! Good shot against the mangonels, but against the archers, but mangonels are falling against the villagers. Pop 80 against 90, still maybe another shot against the villagers. No, mangonels are dying.
The villagers killed every single siege weaponry. The archers are still firing away a bit. There's knights here. VortiX has those veterancy upgrades. He's dropped to 67 villagers against 57. Army size, it's actually the same. This is really close.
And then the Khan obviously becomes so efficient now if we go to super low numbers. Now we need to take a look. Is Viper maybe having a raid potential there at the right-hand side? It feels like maybe the Lancer is back. No, stopped by the Spearman. Great awareness by VortiX.
Yeah, Viper had harassment in different locations, right? There's another gold on the right side of the map, kind of the right bottom. The other right? The other right, all the way on the right. Yeah, that one. Oh, that's where, okay, that's where that was. Yeah. So he's got the spears defending there into the gold. And Viper is snaking forwards with outposts here in order to give that movement speed aura. Such a good game by both so far. I really didn't think that Viper could make it look close again, and yet it is super close right now.
Agent Snake on the case here for sure, and now villagers are being pulled again. Some of them low HP from the early engagement, but doesn't really matter against the Springald. 2 villagers dying, and that's tower was already low HP.
Ooh, he's going for that gold with a couple of units. A con and like 6 units. It's going to be a 6 versus 6 infantry battle. That's sick.
Viper now faces exclusive production of Arbaletiers here from our French player. Let's take a look at the right wood line. That's not the craziest army. Spearmen have to run, and VortiX needs to find another angle. Where does he have gold on this map?
Right here. How much?
How much? 18?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
that's
thank
good.
you.
Every little bit,
Every little bit counts.
yeah. And then one right here, right on top, and he's gonna go for it. Khan has already seen it. Viper is extremely aware of everything that VortiX could be exploiting in terms of gold, and he's controlling it well.
I think we need a caster camp next. Like, Grubby just crawled into the minimap trying to find extra yellow dots on there, but we couldn't really find any. And, well, Spearman defense against man-at-arm aggression, not really a thing.
Nice counterattack here on the new step redoubt location. Viper's getting a really good amount
Attacking
of food
the wolf
and gold.
instead of villagers.
Oh.
Okay, but now villagers are being pulled. But still, again, you needed a second tower there, right, before you show the first one. VortiX just pulls villagers, loses maybe 1-2, but he won't mind too much.
Yeah. I guess if you get the upgrade on it, the Springleton placement, it's decent. I do think VortiX has the HP upgrade for villagers, right?
Yeah, feels most likely there. And Khan still being active, can be annoying. As we all know, small change on the Khan. Increases from, what was it, 5 hits to 8 hits, but I don't even know how much that is with textiles.
He does 8 damage on 75 health, so he needs 10 hits on villagers.
Fair enough.
And in the past, with 12, he would have needed 8 hits.
Okay, now some army being sent over. Magno shooting
7
from
actually,
distance.
but
7,
yeah,
okay.
it's fine.
Nearly math. Grubby math.
Yeah, well, I still don't know who's correct. But anyway, it's the new Khan. He needs 10 hits on the full HP villager. More, so cheeky. More outposts coming in here on the Viper's in full deny the economy mode. He knows that there are more villagers for VortiX, but he's like, if all you can get is food and no wood and gold, I'm good.
This is the moment where you want to have the guild hall on gold, because that's the crucial resource. And look at that.
Oh, he collected.
But only, I'm not sure if he collected or only switched now. Maybe it was on food before. Right, but he has 1.5k food income, 600 gold now, but that will change pretty quickly.
I don't know if that food income also incorporates the recent, yeah, I think it does.
It's basically how much food was dropped in the last minute.
Including guild hall?
I think so, yeah.
So
also including market, I believe.
So the 1600 was inflated, and now it's dropping back to the actual amount based on a sustainable farming economy.
Okay, but back up to 1400, so drop-offs there. Trap still around, and that tower is a bit annoying. Viper gets a solid grip of this map, and
have you ever seen Viper play like this? He's turned into something else.
It looks really good. As like maybe into like a different snake.
And yeah, like he's going full King Cobra here. We've got 2 town centers here, lots of pastures. He's got a really solid setup behind this. Lots of food and gold coming in. He's got a
double Mangonel. Give us the point of view of Viper. I want to see how much gold and food he's getting by killing the farms potentially.
He's probably not going to target the farms. He's going to target the crossbows on the right side.
Oh, maybe that's even better hits. And oh, nice micro by VortiX, but still some losses. More villagers being sent over. Still 2 Mangonels. Can they get a second volley off? At least one of them doesn't. And only is slightly bruising those villagers.
Men-at-Arms going in on crossbows. They'll do fine if the crossbows don't get micro. Those are Arbaletiers. They have more melee armor if they have the upgrade. They're getting some good shots in. The fight goes on. But for the first time in forever, Viper has gotten the villager advantage.
Aiming for the trap there at the top. That's really ambitious for the villagers.
It's a trap.
To run. Oh, Admiral Akbar to the rescue there. Thank you so much. And VortiX drops below 100 population. Food income looking horrible now.
Oh my god, VortiX has dropped to 405 food per minute. He's got no food right now. Viper is all over him, denying gold in various places.
And those villagers are low HP. Maybe Mangonel shot can find some kills there. Is he going for it? Needs support. Show us, Viper.
Attack.
Is he attacking though? First shot in, finds 4 kills, but villagers again, back at it.
Why you have to be mad? It's only Mango. But they kill it immediately. He killed just a couple of, and suddenly there's loads of men-at-arms for VortiX here.
Uh-oh, Viper at 18 military only. He has this really solid boom behind this. I can't rule out that we're seeing second TC from him, because 87 looks really solid.
No, he had. We saw it.
Okay. Good that I didn't rule it out then. And we have 62 villagers for VortiX. Military-wise, enough for the defense though to stabilize and maybe get some gold again.
Viper's gold though. I've seen that too many times from him in this tournament. 2,600 gold. I mean, Mongol's win rate is like under 40%, but more than half of them go to 2,500 gold at some point and don't use it for market. Unforgivable. Unforgivable.
I'm a forgivable person.
Okay, forgivable, but slightly disappointing.
But I will remember.
Yes. we all will. And he did spend a bunch of it, right?
Ooh, big switcherino. Quadruple stable, full lancers.
Papagino's switcherino, attackerino with the knights. Nice.
Against crossbows though? Shouldn't it be full switch into horsemen?
Maybe it is.
I see lancers in production.
Maybe he makes 2 lancers. And
To
then
debate
mass
me.
horsemen.
Oh, and look at what's in the queue, Grubby.
Yep. Knights and horsemen upgrade.
Khan, he gets so many kills. Like, damage output of this guy is just so crazy good. Double Mangonel, still not a lot of vision here for VortiX in the stealth forest, is moving in without really seeing the shots. Abilities don't really know when to micro, and it seems like Mangonel 1 is down, Mangonel 2 completely misses.
Yeah, did you see it went to the stealth forest?
Maybe ground attack there, try to shoot in the other direction. Obviously the mind games are on. You can somewhat out micro the shots of a Mangonel. You just move while the shot is happening, and as you can see, or switch direction while the shot is happening. And Khan still full HP, still nice denial on that side.
This is one of my favorite games in N4C so far. What a sick, absolutely sick back and forth as VortiX tries to get his gold economy back under control. He's microing his hearts out. His hearts? Multiple? That's weird. Where did he get that from? He's microing his heart out as he tries to make his arbitrary kill this large invasion force of men-at-arms.
But it shows he has 103 hearts.
Yeah, that's true. That's his HP, his heart power. He has 100 and 0 and 1 right now, which is how you say numbers in English. You're welcome. Villagers are killing outposts right here so he can get his gold income finally going once again. But the men-at-arms, the crossbows, whatever Viper has, they keep making mangonels. He keeps rushing in. There's knights here that are denying farm economy.
And we had lots of strategic games and so many brilliant strategies shown. But today, on day 5, it feels a bit like those players agreed, let's take the gloves off and let's just throw armies against each other. Just remember the Abbasid Rus game, like 25-minute feudal battle. And this one is brutal as well.
Exactly. This is a game of, this is a bout of karate where both players are being told by the judge, okay, I want a nice game, no kicking in the nuts, no biting. Nothing below the belt, and just karate. Show your mastery of. And by the end of it, they're doing like Aikido, they're doing like Penchak Silat and stuff, and even street fighting. I mean, I think I just saw Viper break a bar stool over VortiX's head. Like, this is sick, it's messy, but at the end of the day, winner stays alive and takes all, yeah?
Oh, hell in a cell for sure here in the small apartment that we have, and Mangonel's still getting some shots in. Viper, he is looking in good control. Another tower. He's just getting so much control over and over again and leapfrogs forward even further. This is now the only area where we not only have gold, but also the only area where VortiX can get wood as well there.
Yeah, he's doing such a good economy asphyxiation strategy here. The Viper, his Anaconda style, Boa Constrictor style, as Viper comes here now with horsemen, with knights. He's actually kind of making a mixture of them, which is interesting. I typically tend to gravitate towards either one of them, but now he's got that flexibility. Knights for killing villagers, horsemen to distract crossbows, and what's more, he's even using them in that way. That's the really impressive thing.
And the full TKO moves here. As you all know, Viper named himself after the wrestler Randy Orton, aka the Viper, his favorite wrestler when he was a kid, and therefore he just wants to show off here and wants to show some nice moves. That was a weird pull with the villagers there. Did he try to save them?
Yeah, like make sure that they don't get picked off, right? By knights, kind of kept them in that safety while Arbitrary dealt with the invasion force. VortiX has like 50 farms and no horticulture upgrade. Let's just express my disgust for that for a moment here. He could have had a lot more food, but he doesn't seem to like eco upgrades.
Neither player going for any relics as well. Obviously, VortiX never really had the breathing room. Viper certainly could have done that, but decided, nah, I would rather focus on killing some more of the villagers, and that's what he has been doing for the last 10 minutes.
157 pop by the Viper, 117 villagers, 40 army. The first relic!
And the first wall of the game, as the right-hand side as well. Wants to stop that raid, sends out quite some villagers, but will take some time. He's still so much army in his base. Those walls won't really help him. 70 population lead, and maybe, just maybe, Viper might actually get a W at N4C.
Wow, he's working hard for it. He's evolving. He's sending himself off into the weekend as best he can. He wants to get that series victory. He wants to restore honor to the name Viper here in AoE4 in this tournament, and he's on track to do it. VortiX, one of our better players. He's at score 2-2, could have been 3-2. Had some great games. Well scoring in the Buchholz department. He's guaranteed top 6. He is fighting a reinvigorated Viper who lost the stress of potential advancement. Is playing with a reckless abandon, has nothing to lose, everything to gain in terms of honor, and he's struggling. Gold disappeared, controlled by the Viper.
Oh man, so great raids. And now this gold ran dry. Wants to get more control at the right-hand side for the walls, but Viper already has some blue dots there. And look at that, so many towers all around. What a crazy, crazy move. And now the farms are getting attacked. Lancers are already waiting there. Oh, those are some nice kills. And VortiX not happy. And look at that one. Has to type this one out.
Wow.
The Viper takes it 3-2 in a crazy set.
GG. Wow.
Oh, and he is relieved. What a great game. So much aggression. I love that Rus Abbasid game. I love this Mongol against French game as well. And Viper really happy with a smile. And no matter what VortiX says now, Viper's just nodding.
Yeah, yeah, he's happy, he's vibing, right? Like, I think this is one of the better Mongol games we've seen at the tournament. Heavy feudal, I don't want to say aggression, heavy feudal attribution to army, able to defend a dedicated high micro player like VortiX with mass knights and archers, using horsemen, using spears, a couple of archers. The battle goes on and on and on, and then harassment everywhere. I want you to imagine rolling hills of knights traveling over it, men-at-arms coming across, outposts suddenly revealing themselves around the wooden forests that were trying to be mined. Viper had a mental map of where all the gold was. He kept checking in on them over and over and over, sending units, small forces, large forces, mangonels attacks. There was a very scary moment though. Right after he reached castle, 2 men-at-arms, couple of spears in the archers, 1 mango attack. He nearly lost it there.
Yeah.
And then to come back from it nearly?
He was at 60 pop against 100, but 2 minutes later it was 90 against 100, and then suddenly the mangonels were so much better. Just such a lovely, lovely play, and he will get at least 1 W.
Yeah, we'll finish the group with a 1-4, 3-2 against VortiX. He'll be able to dine with the rest of us again.
Doesn't have to sit next to Logan and
sometimes like we throw a chicken leg or something. And Viper's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. He can dine with us again.
We gracious casters.
Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't hold it against him for long, you know, provided he gets 1 W. And now he did. So welcome back into the fold, the respected circle. No, but honestly, Viper here caught, of course, between... you know, getting back into Age of Empires 4 after playing some AoE tourneys, and it's been a rough awakening. Though you wouldn't be able to tell from talking to him. He's chill and he's like, he knows there's a knowledge gap that he had to work on. But I think he's already made a few steps in that direction.
And obviously, like, the lineup is so sick here, right? No matter who you face. You're obviously facing a top 8 player in the world. And then he had sets where he could have maybe even taken some other Ws. Didn't go his way. And all of a sudden, we are in the position where he was already out going into game number 5. VortiX, now suffering. He will have a really bad seed. Will play an incredibly strong player in the quarterfinals. And then still has to make his way through the semifinals. As you can see, the rest of the schedule. And now we go over for an interview with the Viper himself.
Feel lonely.
How many microphones do we have? I'm the ping pong person in the center, right?
This couch is comfortable.
Is it?
Yeah, it's nice.
You could have had
feeling.
it 5 times if you wanted to.
I wanted to.
You wanted to.
Yeah. Nice.
Viper, you won.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Good.
Thank you for joining us.
It was great.
How will the next days look for you? How hard will you party now?
Not much,
Why?
because I lost.
In
to
our hearts,
celebrate.
you won today. It's always like it's the old rule. No matter like if you play soccer with your friends and you played for 3 hours, you just erase it. Last goal counts.
Oh yeah, true.
So yeah, you're a hero in my heart.
Okay.
Viper, there was honor to be gotten here. It feels much better ending a tournament with a victory, and you played against some of the most feudally aggressive players here with a great micro, VortiX. He kind of started things differently, a different rhythm. You had your first game, you were Abbasid Dynasty, you went for your extra town center, and he was Mongols. He went for his own second town center, made some manganos, played some defense. You went for your third, you started vibing. Did you start with Abbasid because you feel most comfortable with them and you wanted to just start on a good footing?
Partly yes. Also, I think I've lost every Arabia game so far, and usually Arabia you have civs like Mongols, French, etc., etc. So I thought I'll go a safe civ. He might go Mongols there himself. So Abbasid these days match up quite well against Abbasid. So Mongols against Mongols. So yeah, I felt good with that matchup, and yeah, I know now it's about to figure out how to beat Abbasid with Mongols. We're actually there now.
From the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Feels like it. And then we went into Hill and Dale with the Chinese mirror. What was your scouting process? Like, how did you process the information of his villager distribution?
Well, I was obviously assuming that it was just going to be a boom war, but luckily I saw 2 of his vills when I brought my scout back to bring my sheep to my base. So I saw 2 of his villagers, and then I knew he was doing something a little bit wild, but I thought it was only those 2 vills, and then he's going to back off. And then suddenly I saw 2 vills on the bottom, there were people sneaking around on the top. I heard the Barbican through the fog of the war, so it was like, yeah, so it was like, okay.
What does it sound like? Can you make the sound?
Preferably not. It's a difficult sound to make.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, you can try if you want.
I don't remember what it sounds like. Maybe if you do it first.
It's 4 games. It's 4 games ago.
Even if poorly, then I can imitate it better. Just joke them.
No. I was trying to build up a noise, but nothing came out. Okay.
All right. That's cool. We'll ask you next time. You get some time to practice before next 30. So then let's skip all the way to the final game. Mongols. It was brought to your attention by DeMusliM that your Mongol win rate was worse than, for instance, your Abbasid. He kindly suggested, as a friend does, maybe you shouldn't play Mongols anymore.
Yeah.
You used them for the final match. It's your final chance to win the series. You're playing against French, not fast castle, not fast feudal, and no tower rush. You settled on another strategy, pastures into feudal battle. Why? And are you satisfied with how that worked out and transitioned?
I played a French against Mongols against Mista earlier in the tournament, where he just went. To me, it was unorthodox. He just went pastures, got economy, and Mongols always have the tool to double produce, right? So if there's pressure coming, you can always react, and you just take a safe eco advantage because all the sheep from the pastures are under your town center. You don't have to move around on the map to collect resources, hunt deer, whatever. And yeah, you just do that, and you scout what's coming, and then you kind of adapt. The Khan gives you a lot of mobility and utility in the feudal age as well. So I feel like that's maybe the best way to play Mongols against French at the moment. I think Mongols are actually quite favored in that matchup.
I think so too. I was thinking, what if he just goes for that spearman and the horseman? It was nice to see you break free from the shackles of the maybe bad habits by now of those tower rushes. Then you had a really intense micro battle under your outpost when he came in with the 1 ram.
Yeah.
He transitions 2-second TC, and you fell behind extremely far in villager count. How do you keep the hope that you can get back in there? And you eventually did, despite that little Mangano attack from the stealth force that didn't quite go the right way.
After that one, I was thinking maybe I get some Mangan shots on villages here and just kill 15 villas or something. I should have probably waited a little bit until I got more army into the mix, but like that map with Mongols as well, just putting outposts everywhere in the forest and sneaking up some arrow slits and Springall towers. Just is so annoying for French to clean up. And I am the one in charge. I have the YAM network. I have the mobility to move around on the map. I have, in my opinion, better tech. It's hard for him to get extra golds. So for him to like mass produce siege to counter my siege is very difficult. And I have obviously the step redoubt, which is broken. So that's very nice. And I think over time you should be able to trade way better than the French player. So even if you're behind 10, 20, 30 bills, I think you're kind of okay.
Extremely entertaining game.
It was fun.
Absolutely, and we will have the next set coming up after the highlights. Maybe Overlay Guy can give us the schedule again. Beastyqt against DeMusliM. That's going to be an absolute banger. And Viper actually will join the caster boost later on in the Mr. versus MarineLorD set. So if you want to hear more of the man, that's your chance there. Let's now jump into the highlights and then Beastyqt versus DeMusliM on the other side.